they won the Visionary Award, that's the sort of thing I should win.
Why should you win the Visionary Award?
I think I am a visionary.
Transfer fees up. Season tickets up. High prices up. Why the bloomin' heck are you still up?
Topical sport and debate worth staying awake for. The Two Mikes.
All night long.
On Talk Sport.
All night long.
Look at the light!
This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mikes. It's Friday the 13th. I'm delighted to be back after a couple of days in the medical tent, and it's a very warm welcome to Mr. Mike Porky Parry. Very nice to see you, Mr. Parry.
Well, I have to say, Mike, great to have you back. Glad you're in the studio, looking okay. How was it? How was the sick bed?
Well, I'm still feeling a bit sort of...
weak?
A bit weak, yeah. It was almost like a sort of bronchial sort of fever I had.
It's not good.
And I'm still feeling, you know that way you feel when you're still a bit kind of
groggy.
Clammy. And
groggy, yeah.
Yeah, not all there.
Yeah,
not all there, really.
I consulted a top doctor today.
Did you?
And I said...
Not Dr. Banner?
Not Dr. Banner, no, he looks after hearts. This is a guy who looks after bronchial complaints,
Yeah.
And he said, what are the symptoms? And I said, well, it's the terrible wheezing, the voice is gone, shortage of breath.
Swollen, there was a fever as well.
Swelling, and he said, OK, does it do anything to provoke it? And I said, no, not really. I said he drinks a few bottles of champagne a week, does drink to excess.
Rubbish.
Eats a lot of kebabs and all that.
Not true. That's not true.
But then he spotted something. And I said, and he smoked 60 cigarettes a day. He says...
I don't smoke 60 cigarettes a day.
So how many do you smoke a day?
Well, I don't know, but it's not that many.
Well, how many?
I used to smoke 60 a day when I lived in New York. In those days, when you could smoke in the office.
You cut down now, have you?
Well, because there's so few places you can smoke. It's almost impossible to smoke 60 a day unless you don't actually, do anything except stand outside.
Oh, I see. So you haven't cut down on cigarettes to improve your health. You've cut down on cigarettes because new laws mean you can't smoke inside buildings.
Opportunities are fewer. I can't sit here and smoke. You used to be able to sit in a studio and smoke.
So if you could, would you?
Yeah.
Well, all the way through the show?
Well, not all the way through.
Well, I'd have to find another studio to work in then.
Well, that'd be fine. That'd be absolutely fine with me.
I could not
you could
stand
go
that
to the next door studio.
Yeah, I would, because I would not be able to stand that putrid atmosphere. But anyway...
But can you imagine what that must have been like? I mean, even as a smoker, I would say that must have been horrendous. I mean, when I worked in newspapers until I think it was... certainly when I was first working at the Express in London, when you were there, you could still smoke there as well.
Yeah, well, Norman Luck used to, didn't he? And all that. Norman Luck, Michael O'Flaherty, Bob McGowan.
He gave up, I think, yeah.
They all smoked.
I remember sitting on the back bench and smoking.
Guess what? They're all dead.
Yeah.
They're all dead.
Yeah, they're all a lot older than me.
Colin Bell, Norman Luck, Bob McGowan, Michael O'Flaherty, dead.
Yeah, they're all your age.
Smokers.
Or 10 years older.
Smokers, all dead.
Yeah, well, lots of people are dead who are not smokers.
Yeah.
What's your point?
But anyway, the bronchial expert said, I think the clue is the 60 cigarettes a day to the bronchial infection.
He would say that.
Well, he's a doctor and he recognised that this could be an irritant factor.
Well, doctors are behind the banning of smoking as well. You're not going to find a doctor that's going to say smoking is good for you. There are some who will say, actually, that in terms of...
1 or 2 cigarettes a day can expand your lungs.
No, it's not that. But if you smoke over a period of time, as I have done, that actually if you give up smoking, you're more likely to get bronchial complaints.
Well, if you...
Maybe I'm not smoking enough.
If you another ridiculous statement to justify your excesses.
Anyway, look, what's the point? Why are you having a go at me? I've been off sick for a couple of days. I've come back. All I've heard is that you've been slagging me off while I've been away. All I've heard is that you've taken every opportunity to point out that it's my lifestyle that's to blame. Well, I mean, have you got a single bone of sympathy in your body for me?
Not really.
Really?
Not really, to be honest.
That's shocking.
Self-imposed sickness,
it was a virus. It was a virus, right? And one of the reasons I didn't come in, actually, is because it's quite an infectious virus. Right. And if I gave it to you, you could drop dead.
Okay.
On account of the state of your heart.
Now, it's no
secret...
secret...
So what you should be saying to me is thanks very much indeed for not coming in and infecting everybody else.
It's no secret that in our business we largely work on a sort of pay-as-you-earn or earn-as-you-pay type basis. So if you don't turn up in a studio and you don't broadcast, you don't get paid,
That's right. That's true.
Now, that is the very basis of fairness. But in your case, I think TalkSport should fine you.
Fine me?
Yes.
Why?
Because a self-imposed illness means you put a strain on the resources at TalkSport.
Well, let's go down this road then.
Yes.
How about you get fined for how many months you were missing from TalkSport? How many months was that?
7.
And that was self-imposed, was it not?
No, that was...
Yes, it was.
No, that was acute heart failure.
It was due to your lifestyle
that
you ended up almost dying.
No, it wasn't. It was due to the fact that my father had dilated cardiomyopathy.
Well, let's find him then.
He never bothered to tell me before he died at the age of 58.
That was nice of him.
And then when I was...
so, of course, you wouldn't...
When I was 48...
So this fine wouldn't apply to you then?
When I was 48, walking up a hill in Madrid on the eve of the 2004 Euro Championships...
Had you had anything to drink?
a couple of glasses of...
really?
A couple of glasses of that Spanish wine that I can't stand.
Sangria?
What's it called? What's Spanish wine called?
Rioja.
Oh, Rioja. Yuck.
You've never had a couple of glasses of anything.
Anyway,
you're incapable of having a couple of glasses of wine.
I collapse on the floor.
Yeah.
I remember it well. It was a cobbled street.
Why has this turned into a conversation about you?
Hang on.
Excuse me. Yeah. I've been quite ill,
yes,
okay?
Yeah.
I'm so ill. I mean, I have never missed a show. I was so ill I couldn't come in.
You've been ill for 2 days?
Yeah, but very rarely have I missed... I've never missed a show because I've been ill, okay?
I was
My health is, generally speaking, pretty good.
I was 36 hours from death.
Yeah, not close enough, as I've said before.
Oh, that's
the bottom line
nice,
is that all I get when I come in...
That's really nice.
You know, when I come in having had a nightmare day when my car broke down, having had terrible health problems...
Yeah,
right,
well, that's your own fault as well, your car breaking down.
That's not my own fault.
It is. Do you know what? I've spoken to somebody. The reason your gearbox went is because you're too fat and your car's...
It's a Land Rover. It's not a smart car.
Your car is carrying too much weight around and therefore the gearbox exploded. Yes,
yeah. Well,
yes.
I'm sure that your expert is probably the same expert you spoke to this morning, one of those voices in your bloody head. My point is this. If I come back from having had a bad time, I expect to get at least a modicum of sympathy, even in the first 10 minutes, and you can then attack me for the rest of the show like you normally do.
I don't attack you.
Absolutely shocking behaviour.
I merely intellectually joust.
I'm starting to feel a bit dizzy now.
I'm an intellectual jouster.
Shouting.
Anyway...
I thought you might be giving me, be a bit sort of easy on me, actually.
Why? What's your going?
Well, because I'm
what about the pressure that puts this station under? You know, a person who...
What, are you saying I'm invaluable?
I'm not saying you're invaluable. No, I'm not saying
yes,
you're invaluable. No, I'm saying that you are part of the furniture.
Oh, yeah.
And furniture gets very tatty sometimes, by the way, okay?
Sometimes you need a bit of a rest.
You know, you can...
that's why I worry about you and, your constant working. You're working again this weekend, aren't you?
I am doing Clash of the Titans.
So you're going to Birmingham.
So
we're going to Birmingham tonight. We've got a live show.
Yes,
at
that's
the house.
That's right.
The big house, as I call it, in the Birmingham Repertory.
That's right.
There will be last-minute tickets on the door, I'm told, because it's such a big theatre that they've got a little bit of space at the back.
They can extend a few rows at the back, but it's still only performing in front of like 750 people, which is pretty good.
It's not bad.
No, the point is...
So you're going to come to Birmingham.
Yes.
So you're going to come back.
Yes.
So you're going to do a show on Sunday.
On Saturday. I'm doing Clash of the Titans. But you see, I have to do Clash of the Titans. No, I'm coming back on Saturday.
Yeah. Well, you can't come back on Friday. The show's on Friday night.
Yes, but it finishes at about 9:30. So doesn't it?
What time does it start? 7:30.
7:30. Well, it'll be over by 9:30, okay?
I suppose so.
And so I could come back if I wanted to, but I'm not. I'm staying over.
You're required to stay there and entertain the fans afterwards. Many of whom would like to have you sign a DVD for them.
Well, that's true, and
so you don't go shuffling off.
So I will be returning on
So when
Saturday.
you come back to do your main job on Monday night, you're going to be cream crackered.
Well, I'm doing Titans on Sunday afternoon because...
Yeah, I know, but you'll be knackered.
Yeah, but Mike...
That is not responsible working.
Mike, it's called Clash of the Titans.
Yeah, I know.
And as I'm a Titan...
It used to be Titans as well.
As I'm a Titan, I have to be in the show.
You are a Titan. That's true.
I won't
it's not the same spelling, though.
I won't then be able to turn my attention wholly to our show on Monday night because on Sunday night when I finish the Titans, I should be shooting to the South Coast because on Monday morning...
You're working too hard.
Hang on, Monday morning... I am actually going to be on Bournemouth Pier.
Are you?
Carrying out my commitment.
What, jumping off it?
No, the local authority won't allow me to jump off it, but I am going to be explaining why I didn't jump off it for a video production for Bournemouth Athletic Football Club.
It's not quite the same as jumping off it, is it?
I would love to jump off it, but I can't. They won't allow me to.
Maybe I should come with you and push you over.
If you came onto the pier, that would be dangerous. That'd be very, very dangerous. You'd be like and if you fell in, you'd be an obstacle to shipping, or whatever they call it.
So you do know that whenever anybody looks at the pictures of us on Twitter, that they think that you're actually fatter than me. You do know that, don't you?
Well, that's the way we take the pictures. That's the angle at which the pictures are taken.
Shorter.
Deliberately.
Fatter.
No.
Stupider. More pointless. And completely and utterly heartless. Even 1/3 heartless.
And yet I manage to turn up every night for work. I don't smoke myself into a stupor.
Get lost.
Stupid boy.
Don't phone your mother. Phone Talk Sport.
Football on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
Athletico Radio.
Talk Sport.
This This is Talk Sport. We are the two Mikes. There's loads coming up on this show, Mr. Parry, because, since I wasn't able to be here Tuesday and Wednesday night, we haven't done Ask Porky, so we're going to, all the people that sent in questions for Ask Porky, we're going to do a bit of that.
That's fair enough.
I'm also going to recap on our winners and losers thing, because the new voting system for winners and losers has been a smash hit, an absolute barnstorming success. Do you know more than 1,300 people voted?
Well, in
the old system, it was only around about 600.
Yeah, I know,
and it's very peak.
This is excellent.
Of course, we've got Sandra Lee coming on from Australia. We've got James O'Connor coming on, who's a former Republic of Ireland midfielder.
Yeah.
He's going to talk about Ireland. We're going to talk about your mate Ross Barkley, who's apparently been put into some kind of experimental formation by Roy Hodgson.
Well, I don't think it's experimental. I think what he's saying is that, here's young Barkley's chance to stake his claim as the England player of the next decade. Yeah. And I mean that sincerely. By the way,
but is he playing where Dwayne Rooney would normally play then?
I think he is.
Sort of in the hole, as they say.
No, not really. I mean, not really. You've got to remember that Wayne Rooney was born a striker who sort of converted to a sort of forward-playing midfield player, whereas Ross Barkley is a midfield player.
Right.
And whether he's a holding midfield player or an attacking midfield player is sometimes in debate.
Right.
But he's
Would you call him particularly quick?
Who?
Barkley.
No, but I'd call him incisive. I'd call him incredibly incisive. A man who can turn a game on a pass and a run and a challenge and a dribble at a defender. I think he's brilliant.
I'm no Ross Barkley expert because I don't watch Ross Barkley week in, week out.
Yeah.
But I've never seen him doing anything amazing.
Who? Ross Barkley?
Yeah.
Well, have you seen some of the goals he scored?
Yeah, some of the goals have been
particularly towards the end of last season.
I'm talking about the way that you've just described him, kind of getting hold of a game and controlling it and making some slide rule pass.
No, I think he does.
I've not really seen him doing any of that.
I think he does, and also.
When was the last time he did it?
Also, do you know what? To be a great player, really great player, you've got to have the ego of a Ronaldo. You really have.
Yeah.
Ronaldo...
but he hasn't got a massive ego, has he, Barkley?
No, this is exactly what I'm about to tell you. Ronaldo did a series of interviews this week because it was... he didn't get an award or something, or something happened. He launched of his film, that's right. Ronaldo's film was launched.
Yeah, do you know what he's named the film about him?
It's called Ronaldo.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, it's brilliant. I mean,
it's like everything around him is called Ronaldo.
No, I totally agree, and so it should be. He is his own brand and all that kind of stuff. And I think that Ross Barkley lacks a bit of that. I think Ross Barkley lacks a bit of the, not belief in himself, but the ability to transmit. Yes, that's right. The ability to transmit the belief in himself towards other people.
Because Ronaldo always had the swagger, even when he was the same age as Barkley.
Absolutely fantastic. And I mean, I totally agree that if you've got it, you should shout about it. Now, if they made a film about me, it would be called Porky.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Well, you're not really known as anything else, are you?
Well, why would you call it anything else?
You could be Parry.
No, I couldn't, because, there are other Parrys, but there's only one Porky, you know what I mean? One Porky Parry.
Yeah.
There's only one Porky Parry.
There was a movie called Porky's, of course.
Porky.
Right. Well, you did any singing with Ian Danter?
We did a bit, actually.
Did you?
I sang a song for him.
Did you compliment him on his album? Did you play any of his music?
No, I didn't know he had an album. Do you have an album?
Yeah, I think he's got a second album out now.
Yeah, no, you're joking.
I'm not joking.
No, we're talking about Ian Danter, the guy who dresses up as a Kiss drummer.
Yeah, no, but he doesn't just dress up as a Kiss drummer, he actually plays the drums.
Oh, no, I'm not denigrating his talent as a percussionist. I mean, he's very good, but...
Well, why didn't you offer to have some of his music played?
I didn't know he wrote music.
You see, you're so wrapped up in your own little world. Yeah, he writes his own songs,
no,
doesn't he?
And
he plays all the instruments.
No, you've got the wrong guy, honestly.
No, he does. I'm telling you.
No, I mean, look, this is a boy who started life selling guitars in a guitar shop.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong with it at all. I started life pumping gas into cars. By the way, I've got a fantastic survey I'm going to tell you about, right?
Yeah.
Do you know that the most unsafe drivers on the road are those who drive very expensive cars?
Is that right?
Rich drivers are the most dangerous on the road. Do you know why?
Why?
They couldn't care less about smashing the car up.
Yeah, also, I mean, I was
Did you know
reading
that?
a thing. Well, I don't know if that's true. But, I mean,
what do you mean you don't know if it's true? I've just told you it's true.
No, you've told me there's a survey. I don't know who's done the survey.
It's research.
You don't know, do you?
It's a research paper that I was researching today.
Really?
Yes.
Well, don't you know who was researching on your behalf?
I probably do. But, I have lots of facts and things in my head.
No, funnily enough, because I was reading earlier on, you know how they're phasing out the Land Rover Defender, basically, very soon at the end of this year?
The Land Rover drivers are the worst in the world.
Hang on a second.
Yeah.
Land Rover Defender.
Yes.
Right? And I was just reading a review of they're bringing out a couple of sort of special edition type Land Rover Defenders.
Yes.
And they were saying it's one of the few cars you can actually drive now.
A Land Rover Defender?
Defender, which is the old-fashioned shape, the one that
you
looks
mean
like...
the sort of thing you see in Africa?
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah. But, I mean, they've become quite sort of luxurious.
Trendy,
in the sense that you can buy them in silver now, you can buy them in sort of shiny
Some
black.
of them have got, like, 6 seats in the back.
Yeah. I mean, you can get the long wheelbase one, but the thing is,
right,
it's still a very old-fashioned type car, right? So you're driving an old-fashioned manual gearbox.
I see.
It's got a very, very heavy clutch. They don't do an automatic version.
Yes.
And although it's got things like heated seats and heated windows, they say that it really is like driving an old car. Because what they said was now cars are so automated and so computerised that people go into a kind of a driving coma.
That's right.
You sit there because, you know, the wheels are all balanced, you know, the turnings, every time you turn, it's all kind of manufactured for you. You don't really have to do anything.
No, have to do anything, no. Now, this is from, this survey was moneysupermarket.com.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can guess that they do a survey like this, can't you? Because, of course, what is moneysupermarket.com?
It's a website.
I know it's a website, but what's on the website when you get to it?
It's a sort of comparison website. So you go on there if you want to, say, buy
You know
something.
the guy who invented it, Martin Lewis?
Yeah, he's become very wealthy.
He sold it for 87 million quid.
Are you sure that's not Money Saving Expert?
It might be. Is that what it is? Oh, yeah, I think he is. And wasn't it moneysupermarket.com who bought it?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But it's basically a comparison website for things like insurance, for things like know, financial, stuff.
Martin's a very clever boy. We had him in here on a show once a few years back, and everybody said, he speaks too much and he's too loud and he's too in your face and all that. Well, he's actually very good at what he does.
Well, isn't that what you do?
What?
Well, isn't that the description? You sure that wasn't people's description of you?
No. But what I was going to say is, I read one of these sort of profiles on him, and he said everybody thought I went from being like a jobbing journalist, earning about 40 grand a year, to selling money. Was it?
Money Saving Expert.
MoneySavingExpert.com.
Financial advice.
He said, in fact, in the few years running up to me selling it, the revenues I was taking off that were about £6 or £7 million a year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very, very successful business.
Well, people like that don't become wealthy just overnight.
No, they don't. No. But anyway, listen.
So I presume that must be from figures of actual crashes then.
That's right.
The expensive cars are more likely to crash.
Yeah. Now, I didn't realise when I saw
what about
this.
Lewis Hamilton, by the way? Have you seen that story?
He's ill.
Well, he's not ill.
No, he was ill.
No, he wasn't ill. He crashed his car.
Crashed his car? Where?
Into a stationary car.
Oh, did he?
In Monaco. Where have you been all day?
No.
I've been in my sick bed and I know this.
Well, what's he doing in Monaco? Because the next Grand Prix is in Brazil.
The story was that he missed the plane, right? And the story was that that he had a fever. He then puts out on his own Instagram account the story actually was that he crashed his car in Monaco into a stationary car. Now, I don't know whether it was a parked car or whether it was a car that was stopped at some traffic lights. And he suffered some injuries, right? But he said there are some people out there who might want to make some money out of this, so I've just decided to come out and say it myself on my Instagram account.
That's amazing, that, isn't
so
it?
He's still going to be on a plane to Brazil, and he will still, they say, he will still race in the Brazilian Grand Prix.
Yes.
But basically, Lewis Hamilton has crashed into either a parked or a stationary car.
Do we know anything about the owner of the car that he crashed into?
Not as yet, no.
Do we know which car he was in when he crashed?
Not as yet.
No, so you don't know much about this.
Well,
then.
this is his information. I'm giving you information you didn't know.
I knew about it.
No, you didn't.
You
did not know.
I knew he had a problem because I saw him on the telly, but I had the sound turned down because I was...
Are you listening to some of your old tapes?
No,
you do sit around listening to your old tapes, don't you?
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
You like the sound of your own voice.
Do you know what? I've never even seen our DVD.
What do you mean you've never seen it?
Well, I haven't seen it.
Well, you haven't watched it?
No.
Why not?
Why? Why should I watch it?
You're selling something you haven't watched. That's not very intelligent.
No, but as I am a character in what's on the DVD, why do I need to watch it?
Well,
I know what we were doing
you're
that
not
night.
just a character in it, are you?
Well, I'm one of the two characters.
You're one of the people who's also the producer of it and the person who is,
Oh, I did all that.
Flogging it and all that.
Yeah. Well, that's all done.
So you don't know what's on it?
Well, do you honestly think that Paul McCartney, on a night off, I know what I'll do. I think I'll go home tonight, I think I'll have a cup of coffee, I think, let's listen to the White Album.
Well,
do you think he does that?
But he'll probably listen to an album he's making before he puts it out there.
Yeah,
and say, how does it sound?
Oh, well, I watched
Or maybe we'll tweak that here, or tweak that there.
No, you don't understand me. I watched all the shoots and the takes and the editing and splicing and all that, but I haven't actually seen
you
the
haven't
finished
actually
version.
put the DVD into the machine and watched it that way?
No.
Okay, so you know what's on it then?
I bet you it's about 30 years since Paul McCartney listened to a Beatles record. And by the way, when you were on your sickbed, I watched that programme, the Beatles' favourite number one, which was Hey Jude, by the way.
Was it?
Yeah. And
did you agree with that?
No, my favourite would be Strawberry Fields Forever.
Really?
Yes. But what I was going to say was, there was some footage in that programme never seen before, and it was blindingly brilliant. I mean, I collapsed on the floor in awe watching these...
What a horrible sight. You sure that wasn't as a result of the third bottle of Pinot Grigio going down?
No.
Crawling on your hands and knees towards the Chinese takeaway in the oven.
No. Watching the brilliance of these men. And every time I see John Lennon on television, I get more and more annoyed about Chapman, the man who killed him. Yeah. And my vow to kill Chapman increases by the day. Yeah.
You're what?
If Chapman ever gets out free, I'm one of about, 1 million people who'd like to go there and literally stow his head in with a...
we can't handle any more alarms in such a short period of time.
By the way, can I make it absolutely clear, please?
You cannot encourage people to go around murdering other people.
Absolutely clear, please. I'm talking...
hypothetically.
Quite hypothetically and fantastically, and I do not urge anybody to go around imposing violence or even thinking violence on any other human being.
Quite well.
Peace.
Quite well
Peace.
Said.
We are a pacifist station. Yeah. We do not encourage violence.
If we could have that sound of a lorry reversing, we could have that in this section as well. Now, let me read you some tweets that I've had in, because I think we should. Mm-hmm. Here's one from Becky in New Zealand, who says, great commitment on the medical front. It would have been easy to have tonight off and a long weekend. Enjoy the show in Birmingham.
No, but yes, we had to get you back into shape before we go on stage tomorrow.
Stephen says, I can't believe that backstabber is welcoming you back. Here's one from Adrian who says, nice to have you back, MG. Were you gerrymandered by Porky so you could have the limelight last night?
Yes,
so people see what your motives are.
Yes.
Very glad to have you back, MG, says Matt. No doubt Porky will have another poor excuse as to why he lost winners and losers, which you did.
Excuse me, we haven't had the results of winners and losers, so you can't say that.
We haven't, but the voting has finished. Here's one from Sean, who says, shut up. He says, only a third of your heart works because you've been drinking like a fish for 30 years.
No, that's rubbish. My father gave me, what have I got, dilated cardiomyopathy, and it's something which I'm afraid I had no choice about. It wasn't a lifestyle thing at all. It definitely wasn't. I can say that.
Well, no, because your lifestyle hasn't changed. That's why I don't think you've got anything wrong with you.
Oh, lifestyle's changed dramatically. I didn't have a drink for 18 months.
Yeah, well, you're making up for it now.
No. I had to gradually ease my way back into the bladderation routine.
Have you seen the time?
And I now only indulge in limited bladderation.
Now, here's one from Irish one who says, I heard of a person who smoked most of their life. This person then gave up and dropped dead. And that has happened to people.
Yeah,
because they get very sort of...
I mean, what I love is, I love meeting people who say, my granddad is 96 and he smoked 40 fags a day since the age of 13. Woodbines with no filter on them, and he's still going.
There's plenty of people like that.
Ridiculous,
It's not ridiculous at all.
Rubbish.
People in your family don't live that long, and it's nothing to do with whether they smoke or not. This is Talk Sport. We are the two Mikes. Loads more coming up.
He's got the numbers on the players, the triumphs and defeats. Got the form on the football weekend and the rumours on the streets. Get all the stats and all the facts with his football form report. Stay on the ball on Friday night with Sky Bet and Talk Sport.
Get unmissable analysis on all the weekend's big games. Stay on the ball on Kick-Off the Players' Lounge on Talk Sport with Sky Bet. Making betting better. Cash out before the final whistle with Bet Tracker. Available now at skybet.com or download the app.
The BMW i3. It's not just an electric car. It's an electric car that drives like a BMW. Rentals from £299 per month. Discover more at bmw.co.uk/i3. £3,699 initial rental, 36-month hire agreement from BMW Financial Services, subject to status and availability for new vehicles ordered before 31st of December 2015 and registered by 31st of March 2016. UK only, guarantees may be required. Mileage and other conditions apply when you return the vehicle.
If there's cluttering, you got to get a brush. Hedgehog. If there's cluttering, you got to get a brush. Hedgehog. If there's cluttering, you got to. Don't be daft, don't be a nutter. Just be sure to get a hedgehog gutter brush. Hedgehog.
Say goodbye to gutter clutter with the amazing Hedgehog Gutter Brush. See it in action and find a local stockist now at hedgehoggutterbrush.com.
If there's cluttering, you got to. Don't be daft, don't be a nutter. Just be sure to get a hedgehog gutter brush. Hedgehog.
You can choose a free gift if you buy a 4G handset from Tesco Mobile this Christmas. So that's a Samsung Core Prime for just $12.50 a month and a board game for the kids. Or a magazine subscription for your wife. Or you could treat yourself to a wireless speaker. I'm sure they won't mind. After all, you did put up a shelf 6 months ago, and they're probably still in awe of that. Tesco Mobile. Every little helps.
Subject to signing up to a 24-month contract with Tesco Mobile. 4G subject to coverage. For terms, charges and rules of redemption, visit tescomobile.com. Subject to availability and status. Offer ends 22nd of December.
Talk Sport on DAB, digital radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. The enduring home of football.
It's modern radio, only better.
Talk Sport.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. Very shortly, we're going to be talking to James O'Connor, looking ahead to Bosnia-Herzegovina tonight against the Republic of Ireland, a 1945 kickoff. Of course, the Spain-England game is a 7:45 kickoff. You can get live commentary on that. We'll be talking about that a little bit later on as well. Here's a tweet from Lee about your jumping off the pier. So Porky's coming to Bournemouth at last. I'm sure we can find some way to get him to jump off the pier. And then he goes, #Bournemouth lynch mob.
Oh, that's a bit harsh,
So I think there might be a bit of a crowd waiting for you.
I am, of course, making my peace with the good people of Bournemouth and the good fans of Bournemouth when Everton play there on the 28th of this month. Yes. I shall be there.
Yeah, excellent. That will be the Thanksgiving weekend, of course, in America.
Isn't it? Yeah.
And I've been telling you about an NFL game that's going on at the moment as well. We'll try and keep you
updated.
Oh,
like anybody cares.
Yeah. Well, people do. People do. Now, people do care an awful lot about whether the Republic of Ireland make it to the finals of the Euros in the summer.
Yes.
And, of course, they're playing Bosnia-Herzegovina in Zenica this evening. And whether they can win that or not, we're going to find out from James O'Connor, former player himself. James, very good morning to you.
Yeah, morning, lads. How are you doing?
Yeah, very well
morning,
indeed.
James. Very well. Thank you very much for joining us.
I mean, you might say, I suppose, that Ireland got through to the playoffs, kind of by the skin of their teeth. They might have had a better opportunity to go through automatically. But what chance they got tonight, do you think?
I think a really strong chance. I mean, I think the draw obviously has been good. I think Bosnia are a very strong team, and I think any European playoff game, it's obviously going to be very difficult. But I'm sure Ireland will be very, very confident going into the game.
Yeah, do you know what, James? I've always thought in the last few years that Ireland, as a team, are not as good as the individual components in that team are. What I mean is you've got some great individual players, people like Seamus Coleman, people like James McCarthy, but they don't seem to add up to...
Two Everton players.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Is that the only two you're going to mention?
McGeady.
He's an Everton fan, by the way, James.
Yeah.
Don't be alarmed.
What I'm going to say is, James, they don't seem to add up to the sort of team they should be.
No, and I think in years gone by, we've always had... historically, Ireland has had a lot of players that were playing for the bigger teams at Liverpool or Manchester United. You look at Roy Keane, Dennis Irwin, Paul McGrath, Kevin Moran, Ronnie Whelan, Ray Houghton. I think the last 15, 20 years, the Irish team has sort of changed a little bit. And if you look at the current squad, there isn't necessarily that sort of high-level player that maybe we used to have. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why we are in a playoff and not actually qualifying automatically from the group. I know the FAI have tried to restructure things. They've brought in a Dutch technical director to try and sort of help the grassroots football. But I think, for Ireland, it's sort of gone through a little period where we're trying to reproduce maybe some players that can play at the very top level and give us that little bit more of an edge than we've had maybe in previous years.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. But when you think about it, the group you were in, with Germany, the world champions there, only 4 points behind them when you finished in third place, that's a very credible campaign, really. You've really earned your place in the playoffs, and I'm not sure that Bosnia-Herzegovina have, so I don't think you're going to have a problem.
Well, I think, if it was as nice as that and works out that way, that'd be great. But I think we all know in football that it's going to be very difficult. Bosnia will want to give a good account of themselves and will want to win. But equally at the start of the campaign, if you'd have said to the Irish team and the Irish supporters, would they have taken that? Everyone would have said, yeah, we'll take that with Poland and Germany and a Scottish team that are insurgent as well. So I think all in all, we're pleased to have had the results that we've had, but equally they certainly won't want to go out against Bosnia. It's a case of making sure you finish it off now and prepare properly for that.
Sure. Yeah, exactly right. And if it doesn't happen, which obviously we hope that it does, what then is the situation for Martin O'Neill and Roy Keane, do you think, James?
For me, they have to stay. I don't see any reason to have any kind of knee-jerk reaction. As I say, I think it's been very credible, the performances throughout the Europeans. I think both of them have done a very, very good job. I think there needs to be some stability in there. So for me, I hope both of them definitely stay, because I think they've put some good foundations in place, and we need to sort of kick on now and build from the place where we are now at the moment.
That's right. Now, the big threat, of course, Edin Dzeko, ex-Manchester City... Sorry?
Edin.
Can you just shut your face while I'm asking the questions of James, please?
Just try and get the names right.
Edin Dzeko, ex-Manchester City, now Roma. Have you got a couple of capable defenders who are going to, keep this boy bolted to the ground?
Yeah, I think that's obviously the challenge when you look at the quality that they have. Individually they have some some very good players. I think that their issue is perhaps maybe they're not necessarily a great team. I think when you look at the individuals, I think some of them perhaps they put themselves before the team, and I think that's never a good combination. I think the Irish are the other way. I think everyone buys into the team first ethos, and I think that's something that hopefully will stand us in good stead. But they certainly have very dangerous players, and Dzeko, as you mentioned, is certainly someone who we need to be very, very aware of.
Mm-hmm. And it's never easy to go out there and play in Zenica, which is a place that I don't know whether they normally would play there, but it's a fascinating part of the world.
Absolutely.
Let's talk a little bit about England, James, because we're hearing that Wayne Rooney on the back pages this morning is going to have to fight for his place. He's basically being left out by Roy Hodgson. We're told they're having some kind of experimental side putting out tonight, I should say, against Spain, where Ross Barkley's going to play just behind Harry Kane. I mean, are Wayne Rooney's days numbered, do you think, as an England star?
I mean, I think when you look at sort of his, I would say not necessarily the performances, but the media attention that he's garnered, I think he's had that throughout his career. I mean, people forget that Wayne broke into the team at sort of 16, nearly 17. I mean, he's been around a long, long time, and that's 14 years to be playing at that level takes its toll on the body. I think what you'll start to see is he will perhaps start to drop a little bit further back and drop maybe into more of a midfield role, but I think, like anything, he'll score a few goals and he's going to be the hero again, and everyone's going to be saying he's going to be around for the next 5 or 6 years. So, I tend to see things sort of for what they are. I think he's undoubtedly, a tremendous player. He's gone through a little bit of a phase at the moment where he perhaps hasn't scored as many goals as I'm sure he'd like, but, I think you certainly don't lose the quality that he has.
But one of the things I suppose you would say, regardless of how well he's done up to now, is in tournament football for England, he hasn't really shone, has he? I mean, neither of England either, but I mean, that's the one thing that I suppose he'd want to do.
Well, without question, and players at that level that have that type of mentality, he will be very aware of his performances in the bigger tournaments, and he will be desperate to remedy that and to make sure that before his career finishes, he can look back and say, well, yeah, okay, the first couple of tournaments, it didn't really go well for me, but didn't I hit it off in that final one, So people like that have such great careers, are full of desire and determination, and, he's someone who, undoubtedly has that in abundance. So I'm sure he'll be desperate to go and perform really well in the next sort of Europeans, and, I have every confidence he will go and do very, very well.
Okay. And lastly, James, want to give us a prediction for Bosnia-Ireland tonight? I mean, if it goes to penalties, have they been practising?
I certainly hope so. I remember David O'Leary years ago, so, I mean, hopefully we'll have the same outcomes we had when he was taking a penalty for us. I mean, hopefully it doesn't get that far. Hopefully Ireland can go and can win out. So fingers crossed.
Yeah.
We're certainly hoping.
Absolutely right. James, thank you very much indeed. James O'Connor, former West Brom, Stoke and Republic of Ireland midfielder there, looking ahead to that game. 7:45 kickoff, as is Spain and England, the friendly, which is on live right here on Talk Sport.
It certainly
Got quite a few tweets to read out to you. One, actually, rather helpful one from Imogen, who's listening in Chicago. It says, Lewis Hamilton is now in Brazil and fit to race. His crashed car is a Pagani Zonda, which cost around $2 million.
$2 million?
Yeah.
What, the one he crashed?
Yeah.
Good God.
So it'd be like one of those Bugatti Veyrons or something.
I wonder what the insurance policy is on a car like that.
Well, I mean, if you crunch one of those cars, they're usually made of such light material that you completely,
and also,
wreck the front end, don't you?
You know, insurance for cars in Monaco is the highest in the world.
Well, I suppose if the car's worth $2 million, the insurance policy is going to be no less than 100,000, is it?
Well, exactly. And the little streets in the Principality are so crowded, and people tend to sort of whiz around there.
Well, he must have been driving too quick and suddenly saw something in front of him that was stopped, either a parked car or a car stopped.
Well,
I
don't think you can say that. I think you're libeling the boy.
Well, no, he's hit a stationary car. He's admitted it.
Yeah, but
if you hit a stationary car, then it must be your fault. You can't blame the stationary car for hitting you.
No, but you've just said he must have been driving too quick. Now, you're presuming there, aren't you? You're presuming.
Well, I am presuming, yeah.
Well, I don't think you can presume.
No, right. You think he was driving slowly into a stationary car?
Well, he could have done. But lots of people hit stationary cars when they're driving slowly because they get distracted and they're looking at the mobile phone or something like that.
He wouldn't have sustained any kind of injury if he was driving slowly, would he?
I think to say that the 3 times world motor racing Formula 1 champion was driving too quick on the road.
It's not unlikely, is it?
And crashed into a parked car is a very, very challenging statement, in my view.
I can see that you're trying to get me into trouble here. Well, but unfortunately, the times that I rescue you from some of the rubbish that comes out of your mouth...
I'm trying to keep you out of trouble.
Don't worry about me.
I'm giving the opportunity here to withdraw that statement and apologise.
I'm not like you. I don't make rash statements, right? I make statements which I've already thought about, which are measured.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do.
And what I'm going to read out to you here is from Dylan, who says, poor old Mike Graham getting hounded by Mike Parry, you heartless man.
Who, me, heartless?
Yeah, you heartless,
Well, I'm heartless. I've only got 1/3 of one.
1/3 heartless?
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
well,
no, I'm 2/3 heartless, that's right.
No, you're not. You're 1/3 heartless.
No, I'm not. No, I'm 2/3 heartless, i.e. I have 2/3 less heart than you.
No, you don't. You
yes,
just have a less efficient heart. You also have a less efficient brain.
My heart, only 1/3 of my heart works. 33% of my heart works.
But the whole of your heart is still there. They haven't taken any of it out, have they?
No, but I mean...
So you don't have a smaller heart than anybody else. No. It just doesn't work as well.
I have a smaller, effective heart.
Yeah, but that's not the same thing.
Well, no, you're talking about...
Only 1/3 of your heart works. It means you still have the same size of heart, so you're not 2/3 heartless.
No, you're talking about organ volume, and I'm talking about organ efficiency.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah, there's a lot of organ inefficiency around here.
I'm not going to comment on that.
Now, I've got loads more tweets that are sympathetic to me, and then I've got this one from Robin of Winchmore Hill. We were talking about Winchmore Hill the other night.
Yes.
Helmut Schmidt, ex-Chancellor of Germany, who's just died aged 96, smoked 60 cigarettes a day.
Yeah, he did.
And Robin says he's an avid listener.
Yeah.
96.
Yeah.
Not bad, is it?
Sorry, who's that? Robin's from where?
Winchmore Hill.
Winchmore Hill, yeah, very good, thank you. I wonder if he knows where I used to live, in Palmer's Green.
Palmer's Green is nowhere near Winchmore Hill.
It is. We used to go up there.
And you wouldn't want to go there.
It's near the Cambridge roundabout, by the way. Now, what I was going to say was...
Time. Have you seen the time? I mean, did you have any kind of time discipline last night?
You can withdraw your statement about
I'm not going to.
Lewis Hamilton was probably driving too fast. Because, you see, when the report comes out that shows that actually he was doing 3 miles an hour, but the gearbox slipped or something like that, you're going to look very foolish.
On the balance of probabilities, I don't suspect that to be the case.
I totally disagree
with you. But we'll find out what the papers are saying very shortly, we will get back to you. This is Talk Sport. We are the two Mikes. Of course, it's Porky Quiz Night as well, and it's all about carry-on films.
Talk Sport. Bang on target.
They've done it!
Work hard and you play hard.
On DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
You won't lose out.
The power of teamwork.
It's easy.
Talk Sport.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two Mikes. It is Porky Quiz Night, of course. We will be doing some Ask Porkies, and some of you did send in some questions, and we didn't get a chance to answer them because I wasn't here. So we'll get to that a little bit later on, maybe the next hour, if that's all right with you, Mr. Parry. And then, of course, the winners and losers result.
3 cars.
The winners.
3 cars.
What's that?
Lewis Hamilton hit 3 cars.
Oh, he hit 3 cars.
3 cars.
Oh, right. So you still want me to withdraw my suggestion?
Well, he says, this is an incredible admission. He says it was a result of too much heavy parting after I won the World Championship.
Although we should point out,
a bit run down.
The police were called to the scene. They did breathalyse him, and there was no alcohol on his breath. So
you see,
it's not about that.
That's the difference between you and I.
Yeah.
To you and I, partying is bladderation.
Yeah.
40 fags.
Yeah.
An eye for perhaps an affiliation with a member of the opposite sex. You know what I mean? And maybe even getting tempted into nefarious substances, which we would refuse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's our idea of partying.
Well, I'm sure they have those kind of parties.
His idea of partying is sitting on a stool all night talking to people about racing with a glass of orange juice in his hand.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Or being at a disco, as we used to call them.
Oh, really? You think you do a bit of dancing?
I think do a bit of DJing.
Throwing a few shapes?
Throw a few shapes, exactly.
Okay.
That's something we know very little about at the moment. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm just reading about this car, which is £1.5 million. We said from Imogen it was $2 million, so that's about right. But listen to this for the speed of it. Has a top speed of 217 miles an hour.
Oh, you can get up to that in Monaco.
700
on a racetrack, not on the road.
750 horsepower engine. It goes from 0 to 60 in 2.6 seconds.
Good. God.
You can't even imagine that, can you?
The problem is...
So if you're taking off at the lights, even before you've gone for a couple of seconds, you could be doing 50.
Yeah, it was good, yeah.
I mean, I don't know whether he was driving too fast.
You could be doing 50 before you actually passed the traffic light on the other side of the junction.
2.
Couldn't
That's
you?
it.
Yeah.
You're doing 50 in that time.
Yeah,
1,
absolutely.
2.
Yeah.
Absolutely extraordinary. Al says this, peace on the streets till Mark Chapman is released, then it's on, which is obviously referring to your suggestion earlier. Here's one from Will, who says, love Porky, but Strawberry Fields only made number 2, a double A-side with Penny Lane.
Yeah, that's right. And by the way, do you know that when I saw that programme the other night, do you think it amazed me? Did you realise that Hello Goodbye, which I regarded... without being unkind, I regard it as one of the Beatles' bubblegum type hits.
Sure,
you know what I mean?
It's a pleasant song.
A pleasant song from the early era. Yeah, you know. Do you realise that came after Sgt. Pepper's? I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
And what happened was, because they were promoting Sgt. Pepper's, they dressed up in all the gear, you know, that they have pictured at the graveside on the cover and sang Hello Goodbye. And it looked completely incongruous. It looked like they should really have had those collarless suits on singing Hello Goodbye because it came from that era. It was very strange.
Maybe it was one of those songs that they'd written before that they hadn't actually, released or recorded or something, because it does have that different sound to it, doesn't it?
On Let It Be, and by the way, we're not going to go into the Beatles' big style tonight, because last night I got accused of over-Beatlising the
you've been going on about the Beatles, have you?
Well, a little bit. But you've got to remember that old Dance is a music aficionado.
He certainly is. That's why I'm surprised you didn't talk about his music more.
I didn't know he'd written any, did I?
Well, you should have done some research on your co-presenter.
But on Let It Be, right, which was although Let It Be was the last Beatles album, it wasn't the last one recorded. The last one recorded was Abbey Road, and the last songs the Beatles ever sang together in a studio was And in the end, the love you take is equal to the love you make. That was the last the songs ever sung together.
I quite like that.
I like that as well. But
I didn't like the way you sang it.
What happened then was that they were contracted to do another LP, and George Martin had to literally scrape around for bits and pieces and all that. And he came up with one called One After 909, which Paul McCartney wrote on his dad's piano in the parlour in Liverpool when he was 14.
And it was quite a rough sort of recording as well, wasn't it? It's good though, I like that one. Now, how about this one? Here's one from Nick, who says, he's texted into 81089. What a relief MG is back. Porky spent the last 2 nights trying to bully Ian Danter.
Who? I was trying to bully Danter.
That's what Nick says.
Well, the trouble with dances last night is he got onto the old political pedestal that so many of us sometimes get on. And when I suggested that I would prefer England to have an English manager, he didn't exactly accuse me of sort of overt racism, but he talked about one of the great ills of society being xenophobia, you know. And I said,
well, I wouldn't call you xenophobic.
I wouldn't call myself xenophobic.
I mean, I call you a lot of things, but not xenophobic.
Listen, I
haven't finished yet. Here's one from Matty who says, Dear MG, why do all of Porky's stories end in humiliation and violence?
Humiliation and violence? Who gets humiliated and viled?
Well, I mean, there's usually some kind of violent sort of suggestion at the end of it. By the way, Buffalo Bills playing the New York Jets. Not quite a local derby, but something of a sort of an Eastern Seaboard match-up.
Both in the state of New York, aren't they?
Well, the New York Jets actually are in New Jersey.
They are, actually, you're right, yeah.
But anyway, I'll keep you updated. It's 0-0 at the moment.
Yes.
Anyway, what were you going to say?
Well, you're sticking to your theory, are you? That, in fact, not your theory, your stated story that Lewis Hamilton was going too quick.
I said probably. I said he was probably going too fast. Given the state of the car's acceleration, I mean, if you're moving in that car, you're moving at quite some pace. Right. Now, if he hits 3 parked cars, think about it, right? If he was going really slowly, if he was just parking, or if he was somehow just coming to a stop, he wouldn't have hit 3 cars. He would have hit 1 car.
Shall I read you the report from Monaco's Palais de Justice?
Yes, please do.
It says,
I haven't heard from them for a while.
Monaco's Palais de Justice, the official statement says, Mr. Hamilton's foot slipped on the brake and clutch pedals, and his vehicle struck 3 parked cars.
Yeah, because that's what happens to me, in the Merc. Whenever my foot slips off the brake and hits the accelerator by mistake, I always hit 3 cars.
Do you not get the drift of what I'm trying to say to you?
No.
If he'd have been going too fast, there would have been mention in the official Palais de Justice report of an accelerator problem.
Well, no,
there wasn't an accelerator problem.
I think you're misinterpreting.
There was a brake and clutch problem.
You're misinterpreting my definition of going too fast.
No,
if the car's out of control because he's hit the wrong pedal, right, as a professional driver, that's something that you shouldn't be doing. It's obviously some kind of a prang. I'm not suggesting he was doing 100 miles an hour down the straight or anything like that.
Well, you are suggesting that.
No, I'm not.
Yes,
that's what you've interpreted as what I said. But you're now at least having to backtrack on what you said, because you were obviously thinking to yourself, I know, I can get Mike Graham into trouble because poor old Lewis was probably just trying to park his car and had a little fender bump with somebody.
Yeah, well,
he's hit 3 cars.
Yes.
Right? He got injured.
By the way...
He wasn't able to fly to Brazil.
By the way, he's admitting to bladderation tendencies.
Is he?
Yeah.
You said he sat there drinking orange juice.
Well, I said that's what he normally does. Now, it says, Mr. Hamilton, who used to be virtually teetotal, right, says he now parties hard both in Monaco, where he lives, and with friends in Los Angeles and Miami. He promised to drink lustily for weeks after winning the title in Austin last month with his mother.
That's true. I remember he said that, didn't he?
Yeah, with his mother Carmen's party in London last weekend, a highlight. He says, I am generally a really energetic person, but with that week after Mexico and my mum's party where we drank a lot, I was really feeling it.
Yeah. Well, there we are. Here's one from, let's see, Dave. He says, Porky's worried about libelous statements. He should know. #plank.
What's that again, sorry?
Porky... You're not listening to what I'm saying.
I'm studying the Justice de Palais report.
The Justice de Palais de Justice?
Yeah, Palais de Justice, yeah.
Is Monsieur Bergerac involved in this one?
No, he's not, no.
Monsieur Poirot?
No. Who was that other French detective who used to smoke the Guitan cigarette?
Sure.
Maigret.
It wasn't Mayday. That was something else.
Yeah.
It says Porky's worried about libelous statements. He should know.
Well, excuse me. You never caught me out in a courtroom case or anything like that.
What about Kate Adie?
Well, that wasn't my fault. I don't know what you're laughing at.
Because it was your fault.
By the way,
you wrote the piece, didn't you?
By the way, excuse me. When we were talking to James O'Connor, our football guest, and I said, "Who's going to look after Eden Zeko and bolt him to the ground?"
Eden Zeko,
bolt him to the ground. You snorted down your microphone.
I did snort because I had this image of people actually bolting him to the ground. That was why.
But you see, the English I use is meant to evoke images in your head, and that evoked an image.
Well, it did. I had this image of Eden Zeko being literally kind of,
millions of listeners knew what I meant.
Spread-eagled on the ground.
I bet you are
nails hammered into his feet and hands.
Millions of listeners weren't snorting merrily because
maybe it's just because I haven't heard you talk for a couple of days, and I was very amused.
Because they... sorry, didn't you listen to me on the radio? When
of course I didn't listen. I was dying. I was in bed.
Yeah, well,
I had a fever.
I would have made you feel better. But they weren't snorting with derision. They were actually wide-eyed in their admiration of my use of the English language.
I think James was slightly baffled by your argument, to be honest.
I don't think he was.
Sue in Tunbridge says this, Mike G, how the devil did the vertically challenged one ever work on newspapers? His lack of vocabulary is unbelievable and his pronunciation even worse. I'm very glad you're back.
I'm not going to comment on that. Listen, I'll tell you what we'll talk about a bit later on in the show.
Yeah.
It drives me mad.
Do you not want to know about the winners and losers result? Because I want to get this out of the way.
Yes, I do, yes.
I have to tell you, I'm very excited. 1,343 people voted.
This is on our new voting system.
Yeah, on our new voting system. You must say, you must prefer that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the end result was, this is actually run, because it ran for 24 hours, at the time of midnight, it was recorded as 56% to me and 44% to you. So quite close.
And what was it recorded as after 24 hours?
After 24 hours, 57% to me, 43%
no, I don't
to
believe
you.
that. Gerrymandered.
So it went... after 24 hours, it doesn't matter, because at 1 a.m. was when the
what you've done is, you've gone into that poll and chosen... It was clearly neck and neck. And you've chosen the cut-off time of the poll as 56-44 in your favour.
No, that's not true.
OK, well, you tell me on that poll, at what stage was it 50-50?
It was never 50-50.
It was 50-50.
No, it never was.
It was, and I was in the lead early on.
In the early days, right, after the show finished, it was always about 54 to 46.
No.
That was as close as it ever was.
No.
And it never really changed.
I don't accept this.
And the fact that you invented some ridiculous winner from, a fictitious show on television didn't help you, I'm afraid. Anyway, are you happy to stick with this, or do you want to go back to the...
I didn't invent a fictitious winner. I said that the lad who married Lady Mary was a winner.
Oh, was he not fictitious?
Right. I think you better tell the audience what's happening for the rest of the show.
I will. So anyway, we'll come back to winners and losers. Coming up in the next hour, Sandra Lee is going to be joining us from Australia. There was a fascinating...
my favourite Australian.
There was a fascinating story down there where
my second favourite Australian.
Second favourite? What, after Dave?
Hey? Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well, who's your first favourite Australian?
Oh, no, I'm not saying anything.
All right, we'll get into that. We'll be talking to her because there was a great story down there about this wormhole that opened up, or people thought it was a wormhole, because it was a very, very unusual cloud formation, which apparently can happen. Yeah. But it actually looked like a wormhole from a movie.
Well, in the sky?
Of course in the sky.
Yeah, well, wormholes are usually in the ground. I'm only trying to explain.
No, I'm talking about wormholes that get you into space. No. Also, of course, it will be the Porky Quiz as well, and that's on Carry On Films. And we'll do a bit of Ask Porky coming up in the next hour as well.
On digital radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. Talk Sport.
Well, that's the Vauxhall Free Fuel event over. Where should we go now?
Newquay.
OK.
Then Edinburgh.
Oh, always wanted to.
Brighton.
Nice.
Durham.
Lovely cathedral.
Betws-y-Coed.
Well said.
Oxford. Inverness. Tooting. Hexham. Westward Ho. Tenby. Plockton. Bognor Regis.
Get £500 of free fuel when you buy a new Vauxhall. Visit your local Vauxhall retailer between the 13th and 16th of November or search online for Vauxhall Free Fuel. At participating retailers, £500 on a prepaid debit card. T's and C's and exclusions apply. The Vauxhall Free Fuel event. Where will you go?
You own this place?
Yes, and you are?
Winston Wolfe, Direct Line. So you're a landlord, a property magnate, a wise guy.
I wouldn't go that far. It's just my wife's old flat.
But you have direct line landlord insurance with buildings cover, right? After all, if your boiler breaks down, they'll pay to repair or replace it.
No.
Oh, maybe not such a wise guy.
Boiler cover as standard with buildings cover. Can your landlord insurance do that? Search Direct Line Landlord. Excludes wear and tear. Underwritten by UK Insurance Limited.
Get amazing cashback offers when you buy real Bosch professional power tools. The Bosch Bonus Bank Bonanza offers cashback on a wide range of tools, including 18-volt cordless, hammer drills, saws and multi-tools. For up to £500 total cashback across 20 selected Bosch professional power tools, download the free Bosch Toolbox app. Visit bosch-professional.co.uk/Bosch Bonus Bank Bonanza for more details. Terms and conditions apply. Real Bosch. Power tools for trade and industry.
Make sure you're ahead of the game and listen to Kick-Off on Talk Sport with 888 Sport. Bet you can. Every Monday night from 7, get in-depth analysis, heavyweight pundit opinion and outspoken fan reaction on the nation's most passionate pre-match football forum.
You won't miss a trick, flick or kick of any of the action.
Plus, hear the latest form and odds ahead of all the matches that matter from 888 Sport's On The Ball Bet Spurt. Kick-Off. Weeknights from 7 on Talk Sport with 888 Sport. Bet you can.
Talk Sport.
And it's in!
A diving header at the end of a 50-yard run.
From the root to the tip.
Talk Sport.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. There will be a podcast coming out, of course, a little bit later on this morning, about 7 hours from now, I would say. A couple of tweets to read out to you.
OK.
Here's one from Liz, your friend and mine, who says, why don't you read out some tweets, you lazy sod? If you did, you would find some nice ones about you. Hashtag I can't see one.
Hang on, excuse me, is this about me or you?
I think it's about you, yeah. Because
I
always read out tweets.
Well, that's because you've got a tablet, and I refuse to
Well,
let
I've also
my
got a
mind...
phone, I use both.
I refuse to let my mind be taken over by things that I see on electronic screens. I prefer to exercise my thought patterns to give the audience...
What you mean is you can't do more than one thing at once?
To give the audience...
You can't do two things at once.
To give the audience a wider range and expanse of our contribution to making our show a top experience for them.
You're talking rubbish now, aren't you?
You're
just throwing a few random words into a sentence and hoping they'll all work out. No. Here's one from Roy. He says, residents get special treatment, especially in places like Monaco. Hamilton could have been blooded and gets a pass, but I'm not sure if that's true. Here's one from Matt. I told you Porky would try to worm his way out of losing winners and losers. Bad loser doesn't even begin to cover it.
I've not complained.
I think you've been relatively sort of gracious in defeat.
Well, the thing is, you see, what I believe is this. I believe that I was morally the winner, but that the audience...
Well, unfortunately, the votes count.
The audience were confused by the new voting system. As soon as they get used to it, which will be, in fact, next Monday night, I believe that I will then start to establish a pattern of victories.
Well, I'm quite happy to keep the system as it is.
Oh, I keep it as it is.
Unfortunately, as ever, whenever you change anything, some people were moaning that they couldn't find it, they couldn't vote for it and all that. But I pinned it to the top of the Two Mics Twitter page, so you can. That may have accounted for why we got so many more people.
Indeed.
Now, the one thing I will give you, if you wish, because of the way that it was, there are two options, right? And the first option is Mike Graham. The second option is Mike Parry. You might say to me, I want to be the first option because then I'll win more.
In what competition?
Well, in winners and losers. You see how that looks, right? It has two names.
I don't want to talk about winners and losers tonight because we're doing two other great things tonight. One is Ask Porky, and I wish to apologise to the audience for not being available to help you solve your problems. Some people have been going through mental trauma and dilemma for 2 nights because you weren't here and we couldn't do
Well, I was going
Ask
through
Porky.
a bit of that myself, to be honest.
Well, it was self-imposed.
I didn't want to be not here. I love my job. I love working with you as much as it doesn't always sound like it. Yeah. And the last thing I wanted to do was not be here.
People don't impose stress upon themselves in order to make themselves ill. They look for help from me. You impose bronchial bugs upon yourself by smoking too many cigarettes.
No, it's nothing to do with that. I mean, it's a viral condition which anybody can get. And as I said, part of my reasoning...
I think it's quite appropriate
that
you suffered a viral condition.
Well, people get sick.
You're quite a vile person.
Viral?
Yeah, I know viral. Yeah.
Viral.
I was making
it's
a play on words.
It didn't work. Viral's got an R in the middle of it. Why are you drinking Diet Coke now?
Well, because I feel
Is this a new drink of choice?
Well, do you know
you could be the last person I can imagine in a Diet Diet Coke ad? Do you remember that Diet Coke ad that all the women used to love, where the guy would be...
I loved that song, didn't you? Ice cold Coke, get the back of my throat.
I don't think it was that one.
Singing hello, summertime.
How old was that? How old was that?
Well, I don't know, but they used to
Sounds
show...
like from the 50s.
No, in slow motion, they used to show Coke splashing over ice cubes and all that, and you thought, God, what a fantastic-looking drink, you know, particularly if it's laced over Bacardi or something, you know what I mean?
Yes, no, quite. There's no Bacardi in that, is there?
No, there's no Bacardi in this, no.
No, I'm talking about the advert a couple of years ago where the guy was like a builder or something like that, and he was on a steel girder.
Oh, and all the girls in the offices looking at him and all that kind of stuff.
He took his shirt off and sat down and had a Coke.
Yeah, a bit sort of Poldarkish, wasn't it? Yeah.
I suppose so, yeah.
What was the Spanish name for the Bacardi and Coke?
The Spanish name, Cuba Libre.
Cuba Libre. Yeah. I was drinking those from the age of about 13. What's your problem?
That does not surprise me.
No, honestly.
No, it doesn't surprise me.
What happened was, you know, it was first found on holiday in Spain, went to Mallorca, and I was queuing at the bar for like an ice cream or something.
Did you have a beard at that time?
No, I didn't have a beard, no.
Presumably they thought you didn't look old enough.
No. And I thought I'd get an ice cream and a Coke, you see. Yeah. And the chap in front of me, he was older than me, and he was getting a Coke, but I noticed that his Coke was called Cuba Libre.
Oh, yeah.
And I, to be sort of, you know, flash and sort of, you know, bit Spanish. I said, hello, I said, an ice cream, please, and a Cuba Libre.
Right.
Now, in this country, of course, they wouldn't serve a 13-year-old a large Bacardi and Coke.
Right.
But when you're on holiday in Spain, in a sort of tourist hotel, didn't seem to mind.
Right.
So I had about 8 of those that afternoon. No, I was very ill, honestly.
Was that the first time you were ever drunk?
I think, no. When I was about 10, I went to a family wedding, and I had 4 baby shams. And I was violently ill.
Right.
Yeah, but it's...
Yeah, the first time I ever got drunk,
nice baby sham.
I was 14.
Oh, yeah.
And I was in Andalusia.
In
southern Spain, and I was on
Is this one of these holidays where your mum drove you across Europe?
No, this was later, because we'd stopped going on these kind of holidays then at that point, because we were a bit older. And this was when my dad particularly was in this thing called the European Press Golf Society, right? Which was basically just a sort of charabanc of drinking in various places around Europe. And the European press guys would come to...
this was after your dad had stopped bombing Canada, was it?
Well, he didn't do that when I was alive.
No,
I mean, that was during the war.
Yeah, right.
You know,
okay,
and he didn't actually bomb Canada.
No,
but thank you for pointing that out. No, he was a very good golfer, my dad. And the funny thing with the European press guys, they were all kind of publishers and you know, like magnates, you know, because golf in Germany was very much an elite sport. Yeah. And they would come over to Britain, and most of the people that were playing golf against them were just hacks, you know, just journos who were either sports hacks or whatever.
We have ways of holding in one.
Yeah, they actually had a guy who used to come round. I can't remember what his Hans somebody or other, and he would come round.
His name wasn't Hans.
It was Hans, yeah, it was, and it was like
Hans.
You're on to tea now. You must be on to tea, and we'd be like, you know, and the guys, you know, the European.
There's the 13th hole.
The British guys, of course, were all kind of in the bar first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And anyway, I actually was quite a decent golfer as well, and I played, and I could only play as a guest, and we stayed
at the age of 14.
At the age of 14, we played at the Andalusia Plaza Hotel in the golf course there.
Yes.
And I won the prize for best guest. I had to go to this dinner in the evening.
Yeah.
And I remember I was wearing a blazer and sort of checked trousers.
Right.
And I went up to get the thing, and I literally could barely walk because I'd been given sangria as a result of winning this thing. And I was at the table with all these guys. In fact, there's a guy called John King, who you might remember. He used to be the Bristol correspondent.
John King, I remember.
You remember him?
He was the correspondent of the Daily Express.
That's right, yeah. And he was there. And in fact, he'd played with me that afternoon.
Yeah.
And I think he was chiefly responsible for filling me up with all this sangria.
Yeah.
And I went up and I remember getting off the stage. You know when your legs just kind of collapse?
Yeah,
and
just
I was carrying this cup. And I stepped down off the stage.
Yeah.
And my right knee just kind of didn't set.
You didn't crash to the floor, did you?
I didn't crash to the floor. I kind of sank to the floor quite slowly.
Oh, I see, yeah.
And then got up like
I
meant to do it.
Yeah.
And I had this big red ring around my lips. I've still got the pictures from drinking the sangria.
Yeah. Well, you know what happened was, in those days, it was so tourist orientated that a great...
And they didn't care how young you were.
Oh, no. A great family night out was to go to the country farm and eat traditional Spanish pork, right?
Yeah.
So what happened was... You sort of thought, where's the drink? And I think I was probably about 15 now, you know, something like that. And all that happened was this woman came around and literally grabbed your head and tipped it back, right? Literally.
Oh, with the old goat skin.
Yeah. And then the other guy came, put a cloth under your chin, and literally poured Sangria into your face.
They had those goat skin things. Did you not ever buy one and bring it home?
No, I didn't actually.
Because everybody did that. And then you brought it home and go, why did I bring this home?
Yeah. And they used to pour this Sangria into your face, and about 1 in 10 never, ever hit the mouth. They just went up people's noses and into your eyes and all sorts of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a dreadful introduction to drinking.
Yeah.
But that was what it was all about.
No, I know.
John King, great story about John King.
Well, let's hold on to it because we've run out of time briefly, but we have lots more time, of course. Coming up, we're going to do a bit of Ask Porky. We're going to do the Porky Quiz as well. Lots more to come. This is TalkSport.
TalkSport on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
Freedom for sport.
Can we kick it? Yes, we can. TalkSport.
100 bottles of beer on the wall, 100 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 99 bottles of beer on the wall, 100 bottles of beer on the wall. I'll count down, passing bottles in this place, who knows that I'm around. 100 bottles of beer on the wall.
This is TalkSport. We are the two Mikes. Maxwell says, Porky reminds me of Forrest Gump, a simple man telling tall tales, half of which may not be true.
That's outrageous. I thought all of Forrest Gump's tales were true.
Well, they were, actually.
I think that because he was such an incommunicative individual, but he was, in fact, a table tennis champion, wasn't he? He was, in fact, a sort of champion
and he had been in all those situations,
yeah,
but he was a bit too simple to understand the meaning of it all.
Exactly,
Here's one from William, who says, I can see the Porky Quiz being a right carry-on.
Right, carry on. Yeah,
and here's one from Jeff, who says, a Cuba Libre is not Bacardi and Coke. It should be dark rum, St. Teresa, if you can get it, Coke and lime. Try it. It's a really great drink. Well, Jeff, I think, actually, it can be light rum. It doesn't have to be dark rum.
No, I agree.
And, I think the point of Porky's story is that he did try it when he was 13.
Yes, that's right.
And while you may not drink it now, I mean, we've all tried it.
To this day, I can't drink Coca-Cola without retching on the thought that 2/3 of it is rum. You know what I mean?
You don't drink rum at all now?
Oh, not at all, no.
Because, I mean, like when I was in Mexico, for example, you would drink things like, various rum-based drinks.
Yes. Why, is rum big in Mexico?
Well, it's just because you're
tequila.
You're sort of in the Caribbean, you know.
Tequila?
You sort of feel it. Well, tequila's their main drink, yeah.
Exactly.
But, I mean, you sort of drink pina coladas. You tend to drink more rum. For me, anyway, you tend to drink more rum kind of drinks.
Sounds to me like you spend all day drinking when you're on holiday.
Well, I did spend quite a lot of the time drinking.
Yes,
well, I mean...
How did you look after your children when you were bladderated?
I wasn't bladderated. If you're sitting on a beach...
that's an incongruous statement.
No, I mean, you're not
I drank all day, but I wasn't bladderated.
No,
It doesn't make sense, man.
Well, there are two different ways of drinking for me, right? There's the drinking where you're drinking very slowly and luxuriantly while doing a bit of swimming. You might have one drink and a swim, and the next time you have a drink, it might be an hour later. You're not drinking like you're at a bar where you're having one after another.
Yeah.
I mean, there were people turning up there at 9:30 in the morning. Some of the American lot would come in, and quite a lot of people from Texas go to Cancun because it's a very short trip. You know?
Yes.
And these guys would be at the bar at 9 o'clock in the morning. And the Mexicans would be having coffee. Yeah. And this guy came up and he's like, give me a beer. And so the guy gives him a beer. And he goes, hey, you know what? I'm on a holiday. Give me a shot. So he takes a shot of tequila and a beer at 9 o'clock in the morning. That's what a lot of people do.
But that's not typical American behaviour. Americans, generally speaking, look down on us Brits as being, hopelessly addicted drunks.
Yeah. Well, they do in some situations, but on holiday situations, not. I mean, because Cancun is very much...
I'm on holiday, give me a shot.
Yeah, I mean,
I like that.
Cancun is very much like spring break type place as well. So all these spring break kids go down there and get absolutely smashed for an entire week.
Yes.
Anyway, what were you going to tell me about John King?
Yeah, John King, right. So, the Falklands War. Now, I joined the paper just too late to be the nominated
how inconvenient for you.
No, literally, just by a few weeks.
Well, Bob McGowan went out there,
Bob McGowan went, yeah.
Who's now, as you said, dead.
He's dead. He died of... he emigrated
used to be
Spain
called the Olympic Flame, didn't he?
Died of cancer, yeah, because he never went out.
Because he never went out.
I made him the district man down in the southeast of England. He was down in Kent on a farm. And what happened was, that was a period then when newspapers had huge budgets. And so people like him, and then our correspondent in the West Country, would literally just sort of turn one of their rooms in their homes into an office. Yeah. And then all the agencies around, which used to employ kids on sort of 20 quid a week or something like that, would file all their copy to our district man, who would then just turn it round a bit and then send it to London. Yeah. They literally never went out anywhere. They didn't have to, Right. And that was the easy...
But, I mean, on the other hand, they were aware of everything that was going on. Yeah. So, I mean, it was quite handy because you could put a call into them and they would tell you straight away.
No, it wasn't... I'm not even saying it was inefficient, but they never went around knocking on doors and that sort of thing.
No.
But, no, the point of my story is when the HMS Sheffield went down, right, which was a huge blow to this country.
Yeah.
I mean, for one of our ships to take an Exocet missile and just literally in the magazine explode.
Especially when it had been sold to them by the French.
Absolutely, and delivered by an Argentinian pilot who had modelled himself on the RAF. You know, but it was a terrible blow. And we found that the home port of Sheffield was Devonport, which is Plymouth, as opposed to Portsmouth. And so John King, who's the West Country man,
it's down that way where the sort of passing out colleges are. Because a friend of mine
Dartmouth College.
Dartmouth College. When I was in university, one of my guys was going through university.
Oh, I see.
Being paid
Sponsored
for
by the Navy.
By the Navy.
Yeah.
And he actually went to the passing out parade, the same one that Prince Andrew was in.
Oh, really?
It was the same year,
that's, well, funny enough...
Beautiful part of the world.
At the King's School, Chester, a guy who was in my sixth form, and in fact he was my cornerman when I had my famous boxing match there.
Cornerman?
Yeah. And
Cutsman?
Yeah, and I knocked a 6'3" opponent out of the ring. No, I smashed his face in and knocked him out the ring.
I've seen the cut.
I'll tell you his name. His name was Martin Hazel.
You don't need to tell me his name.
And he didn't like me. So this guy, what
There's
he did...
a surprise.
Yeah,
Nobody likes you.
He really... I was about 5'6" in those days, right?
What do you mean in those days? You're still 5'6".
I'm not going to bother commenting on that.
I thought you were 7 when you won that Butlins Championship.
No, this was the King's School Chester.
Oh, right.
I was the boxing champion there as well.
Right. And I haven't seen that cup.
Oh, yeah. So what happened was the headmaster, put a memo round saying that we weren't doing enough for charity, and we had to raise charitable funds. So he openly in the sixth form common room got up and said, "I've got a brilliant idea to raise money for charity."
Beat you to a pulp.
Yeah, basically. He said, "What about a boxing match, Parry?"
Yeah.
And I said, "What?" He said, "Let's have a sponsored boxing match." Yeah. He said, "We'll sell tickets for it. We'll have it in the gym." And I said, no, they'd never allow it, I was hoping they wouldn't.
Yeah.
And
it's like that scene from An Officer and a Gentleman when they go into the hangar and there's a boxing ring there.
Sort of, yeah. I don't know. But anyway, so fortunately, the headmaster frowned on this, and said, "No, we're not having physical pugilism and all this at the King's School Chester." But then a wave of support built up for it.
Surely the noble arts.
Well, exactly. A wave of support built up for it through the school. Yeah. And the PE, the man head of PE, whose name I've told you before, Tom Clamp. Honestly.
Tom Clamp.
His name was Tom Clamp.
Yeah. Is he still alive?
Well, I doubt it, because...
He might have, little clampettes.
No. I'll tell you what, Tom Clamp was an amazing man, because he served in the same unit in the army as Bill Shankly and Matt Busby.
Oh, I think you said this before.
Yeah, Bill Shankly and Matt Busby. Yeah. And so he knew these guys very, very well indeed, but he was a real old-fashioned, the noble art and all that.
Yeah.
So he went to the headmaster, so I think it's a good thing. So then all of a sudden, the decision got reversed. So, you can have your boxing match, right?
Presumably you had to wear the amateur vest and all that.
Well, we didn't even get that sort of... I just wore a vest and shorts.
That's what I mean.
And gloves. And
did you have headgear?
No. No, we didn't have headgear.
See, nowadays you wouldn't be able to do that.
Oh, yeah, no, we didn't have any headgear, no. So anyway, the day of the fight came. It was a Friday afternoon.
Told us this story about the fight.
No. But this guy was 6'3". He thought he was going to massacre me, But I just decided I hated him more than he hated me. And I went into the middle of the ring like a whirlwind and forced him to the edge. And then bang, hit him with one. Bang, he went straight out. We didn't have a ring. We had benches.
Right.
You see what I mean?
Oh, so it wasn't a proper boxing ring?
No, we didn't have a boxing ring.
Sounds very dangerous.
But it was benches laid around on the floor. But there were a huge crowd. The whole school came.
Did you sort of knock him out then?
I knocked him flying. Literally knocked him flying. He never came back in.
I can't see that.
Oh, no.
I mean, don't forget, we've seen your boxing prowess. We had that boxing machine in here, which we made a video for the 2 mics on.
Yeah, I know.
TV, right?
Yeah.
And you only got about 450 marks on it.
No, you've got to understand, boxing is not about a heavy, hard punch.
Isn't it?
Boxing is the pugilism.
Oh, I see.
It's the ducking, the weaving.
I thought a heavy, hard punch was quite generally a good thing.
No. The ducking, the weaving, the timing.
No, it's a good thing.
Anyway, got back to John King, right?
Oh, yeah.
So the Sheffield...
Where are we now? What year are we in now?
HMS Sheffield goes down. So it's 1981, wasn't it? The Falklands War.
Yeah.
And anyway, so it was a big scramble to get down to Devonport.
Yeah.
Now, John King was the West Country man, so he had like a huge start on us. He had like 2 or 3 hours to get down the M4 and then down... And I went overnight.
He was a very civilised character.
He was quite civilised, yeah. And I went overnight and... I didn't have any sleep or anything. I started knocking on doors the minute I got there at sort of 5 o'clock in the morning. And eventually, through sheer diligence, hard work, and rat-like cunning, I found the wife of the number one on the boat who was killed instantly.
You've told us this as well.
Yeah, no.
Because somebody disputed that you found him.
No. I found her. I found the wife. But I did what I think was the most really heartwarming thing. I found her house and I went next door, knocked on the door, and I said, "Look, explain to us."
You told me all this.
No. I need to tell the audience. They would love this.
You told them as well.
And the reason I got a great talk with her, was because she said how kindly I'd introduced myself through her neighbour, who was her best friend. But the point
you'd been insincere, in other words.
No,
in order to get in the door.
But the point of this story...
What is the point of the story?
John King felt that I'd emasculated him by going onto his patch and finding
they were
this
very
woman
territorial.
when he couldn't, and he hated me forever after that.
Yeah.
And
listen, that doesn't surprise me.
And in fact, I said to him one time when I saw him at some do later, I said, what is your problem? He said, how dare you come and knocking on doors? I said, the news desk sent me down. What do you expect me to do?
Right.
And I said, if you were any good anyway, you'd have found her before me. The trouble is with you, you've been around too long, you're useless, you're old, you're slow, and all this kind of stuff, you know? And but he never spoke to me again for the rest of his life.
Yeah,
and when
I'm not surprised. He was a very nice man, actually.
Well, they were all nice men, but they weren't very good. Do you remember... Hey, this is a great one. Do you remember John...
Have you seen the time?
Hang on, just very quickly. Do you remember Gentleman John, who was our Northern Ireland correspondent?
Yes.
John Lay.
Oh, no, I don't remember him. I thought you meant John Burns.
No. Gentleman John Lay.
There's too many names already.
Gentleman John Lay. And this is the best one, right? He was a very nice man, you know, and he had a very nice wife. And one time, it was so funny, John was very close to the police because they were called the RUC in those days, Royal Listening Constabulary. Anyway, they had a party at John's house, and a police superintendent came along, and he came in an official car, and somehow it got introduced in the conversation that he had a lie detector in the car.
Right.
And anyway, he says, let's get the lie detector out. So they got the lie detector out.
They always drive around with the lie detector in the back of the car.
So they put the lie detector on Gentleman John's wife's arm, and then somebody threw a question and said, hey, whatever her name was, Dorothy, have you ever cheated on John in your marriage? And she took it off. It was so funny.
That is funny.
It was amazing.
Incredible stuff. More tales of daring do from Fleet Street, of course. We've got Sandra Lee coming up as well to tell us what's been going on in her part of the world. We'll do a bit more on Lewis Hamilton's crash as well, where he's hit 3 stationary cars because his foot slipped.
And what about Ask Porky?
And Ask Porky coming up in a little while as well. We've got loads of questions on that, both on the Facebook page, which you haven't gone and found it yet, is, of course, the 2 mics, and also ones that you've sent in earlier. This is Talk Sport.
Drive on Talk Sport, the UK's only sports-dedicated drive time with Sky Sports. The sharpest analysis on all the day's action.
To say I'm angry is an understatement.
Laser-guided comment and rapid reaction from a nation of sports fanatics.
I don't like listening to him, I'll turn off.
Drive home with Darren Gough and Adrian Durham. Weekday afternoons from 4 on Talk Sport with Sky Sports. The home of the Barclays Premier League for the next 4 seasons.
Everyone knows that all the best things come in 3s. 3 Amigos, 3 Stooges, 3 Lions. And right now, if you sign up to 888 Sport, you'll get treble the odds on your first bet. Join 888 Sport and harness the power of 3 with treble the odds on your first bet. New customers only, minimum £5 bet to qualify, maximum £10 bet at treble odds. Bet at normal odds, extra winnings added within 72 hours, extra winnings paid in cash. Maximum extra winnings capped at £5,000. See site for full T's and C's.
18 plus.
At the Volkswagen used car event, we've deposit contributions from £650 to £1,500 on a range of used Volkswagens at 9.9% APR representative. All used cars are guaranteed with a 2-year warranty and supported by 2 years roadside assistance. And backed up by a 142-point check. And covered by a 30-day no-quibble exchange policy. And underpinning all that, there's 3 years servicing included. The Volkswagen used car event, November 12th to 30th. Visit your local retailer for more information. Offers on used Volkswagens aged 3 to 48 months on a personal contract plan at participating retailers. 18s and over. T's and C's and exclusions apply. Subject to status. Volkswagen Finance.
Are you looking after someone who's 65 or over? Maybe a friend, a neighbour or an elderly relative? Cold weather can be seriously bad for their health, but there are things you can do to help them stay well this winter. Make sure they get their flu jab. Help get the medicines in before it gets too cold or before the holidays. And make sure they keep warm. Their homes should be at least 18 degrees C, 65 Fahrenheit. NHS, we're here to help you stay well this winter.
On DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
The pressure's on now.
Relieve the itch. Talk Sport.
This is TalkSport. We are the two Mikes, and Sandra Lee's coming up very, very shortly from Australia. A couple of tweets here, though. One from Becky, who says, life is like an expensive box of Ferrero Rocher, as Mama used to say. Hashtag man of the people.
Yes.
And here's one from Junior in Moss Side, who says, I was told by your biggest fan, Junior, that you go, sorry, it's not from Junior. He said, who is it? Can't say. Your biggest fan, Junior, told us you've got a DVD out. Can you please confirm the title? Well, it's called The Two Mikes Live.
Yes.
And you find it on the Two Mikes website, which is twomikes.co.uk.
It's all about the two Mikes, really, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's from Jen, sorry, from Salford.
Jen.
So she said we'll shout out to Junior. Now, should we talk to Miss Sandra Lee?
Indeed we will.
Because I know you got confused when I started talking about wormholes earlier.
Yes.
Sandra, a very good morning to you.
Good morning to you, fellows.
Welcome
Sandra,
to the
great
show.
to have you on again.
Now, when I described earlier what I'd seen in that photograph of a wormhole appearing, what appeared to be a wormhole appearing in the sky above Australia, Porky thought I was talking about something in the ground. He said, why was it in the sky? Because he thought it was a wormhole that a worm would actually be found in.
Yes.
So do tell us about the wormhole story.
Well, not being a meteorologist, I can't give you too much of the inside scoop on it, but it appears to be a freak of nature, really. What happens is that the clouds form overhead and the ice or the water becomes frozen so quickly that it forms crystals, and then these super-cooled water evaporates, and whooshka, you've got a great big hole in the cloud.
And it was extraordinary. It was an extraordinary looking thing because it did actually look like something out of a science fiction movie. It was almost like it looked like a cloud that was basically transparent, didn't it?
It does. It's actually quite remarkable to see. And I imagine that if you actually saw it with your own eyes on the ground, you'd be thinking, what on earth is going on?
Yeah,
you probably would. But that's in contrast, Sandra, to a remarkable picture we also saw in this country last week of like a mushroom effect of cloud over Sydney Harbour. It was almost like an avalanche coming down from the sky.
Was this the tsunami cloud that they talked about?
I'll
show you that picture. There's the picture of the wormhole cloud.
Oh, I see the wormhole, yes. Yeah. Sandra, you must have seen the avalanche pictures.
That was a storm. It was the front of a storm coming in, and it sort of like just swooped across Sydney, and you could see it going across like a tsunami. It was quite amazing to see. It was beautiful, actually.
Yeah.
If a bit damp.
A bit damp, obviously, but they are. Now, that explains all the meteorology. What we really need to know is it the end of swimming as we know it in all these resorts north of Sydney, now that the champion who fought off the shark won't surf at home anymore? Mick Fanning has said, that's it, no more swimming for me.
Is this the guy who fought off the shark in South Africa?
Exactly, yeah.
Yes, he's actually said no more swimming because we've had yet another shark attack since we spoke last. I'm always on shark attack alert for you fellows.
That's right.
And earlier this week we had another one, a bull shark, not a great white or one of the bigger sharks, but they're quite nasty and vicious. And this bull shark has attacked a surfer up at Ballina, which is on the north coast, which is where Mick Fanning sort of comes from, around that area.
That's sort of Lighthouse Beach, isn't it?
And he said after this one... Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. It's God's own country up there.
Yes.
And it's just magnificent, but you don't want to go in the water up there on your own, and especially not at dawn or dusk.
Yeah.
Have you been up there, Porky?
Yes, I've been. Yeah, I've been up to that, that part of the world.
Did you go for a swim?
No, I mean, I'm too frightened to get into any water where there's a sun in the sky in case I get attacked by something, you know. No, it's true. I was on a boat once off Perth, and I saw a huge shark swim under the actual boat itself, and I mean, I was just waiting for it to turn around, come back, and smash into the boat. It's terrifying when you see fish of that size floating around, and that's why I don't go in the water ever.
So, I mean, is this bull shark unusually close in then for this time of the year? Or, I mean, are people getting worried that there's more of this happening for some reason?
No, all the experts are putting it down to the fact that the Australian waters are incredibly clean and absolutely, jam-packed with fish. And so basically the sharks are going where the fish are to feed, and occasionally a human gets in the way.
But also, I'm told that the sharks are becoming much, much brighter in the way they deal with safety nets. Apparently, they used to be bamboozled by them, but now they know how to get around them.
I've always been puzzled by this whole idea of a shark net which goes with gaps in it. You know, and people said, oh, well, it's all right because the sharks only swim in one direction.
Yes.
But, I mean, if you've got a series of basically nets which leave open spaces for a shark to swim through, I wouldn't be very confident about that. And you and I have spoken about this before, Sandra, haven't we?
Yes, we have, and I wouldn't be that confident about them either. And in fact, they've been proven to work only if they are fully netted.
Right.
Beaches are fully netted, but because they can, sharks are getting around it all the time. And as we know, we've had so many attacks this year. We've had 22 attacks in New South Wales this year.
I mean, God, that's terrible. Now, Sandra, can you tell me, please, what is the reaction in Australia to the devastating report about Russian drug taking and the possibility that Australia may have lost out, not just on medals, but in fact on the award of a World Cup or an Olympic Games because of the cheating Russians?
Well, all the sports-mad Aussies are absolutely ropeable about it. They can't believe... Well, I suppose a lot of people aren't that sort of gullible to think that they weren't doing it, but a lot of people are just really, really mad about it, and especially the fact that, we have probably lost a couple of medals at the Olympics as a result of this.
Yes, that's
right.
I
mean, I think the thing is rather like here, people aren't absolutely gobsmacked to discover that the Russians might be cheating. It's the fact that it was done on such a large scale and with such kind of involvement from parts of the government. I think that's the bit that shocks people.
Oh, yeah, it was a state-sponsored drug taking, and it's...
See, Putin's ordered an inquiry.
Oh yes, yeah.
You wouldn't want to be the head of that, would you?
No. Well, not really if you thought you had a political future, no.
Well, or any kind of future, really.
No, that's right, yeah, it's absolutely great. Yeah. I mean, what I thought was the best part about it, Sandra, was that it said, whereas a normal country would use its secret police to go and try and find out who was organising this mass drug taking, in fact, the Russians used the secret police to make sure it happened and eliminate anybody who got in the way or tried to object to it.
And make sure all the samples got destroyed if there was anything dodgy about them.
That's right, yeah. No, it's brilliant.
It's interesting.
Staying on the old...
Sorry, go on. No, the cynics amongst us, like my husband says, that you only have to look for the drug cheats on the first, second and third podiums.
Yes, that's absolutely right.
Well, you'd have to be a pretty useless drugs cheat if you weren't winning and you were still cheating. But I suppose that goes for that. Speaking of keeping it with a sporting flavour, our man Stuart Lancaster, the England rugby coach, finally walked earlier this week.
Not before time.
Not before time. I don't know why it took so long for him to work out that he was useless. But one of the guys who apparently have the RFU you've got in mind is the current Aussie coach. Is there any chance he's going to leave and come and work for England?
I don't think there's any chance at all, but we did hear those stories soon after the World Cup, and I think Michael Cheika has got a absolutely sort of iron contract locked down for the next 3 years. I don't think he's going to go anywhere, and he's certainly got the Wallabies back on track too. So I think that the success that he had at the World Cup, he won't be looking to go anywhere else, and I don't think the team would want him to go.
I wouldn't think so. Actually, there's a piece of the Telegraph this morning saying, the world turns down England. Nobody wants to come and work.
No, that's right. Well,
I mean, we've got, supposedly the greatest setup. Yeah. We've got all these facilities. We've got all this money. But nobody wants to come and actually try and work with the players.
Well, I don't blame them, because the thing is, Sandra, I should imagine in your country, Northern Hemisphere rugby is regarded with quite a lot of disdain, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know about that. I think people are sort of pretty interested in it, but I'm not sure sort of how much.
Well, I mean,
I'm not your expert on this.
No, sure. But when you think that the final was played out between Australia and New Zealand, and it was all in England,
don't worry. You know more about rugby than Porky does, Sandra.
Excuse me.
Don't be in any way, hiding your light under a bushel.
Well, the thing he's going to tell you the story now, Sandra. That I covered the Rugby World Cup in France in 2007 for 3 weeks with a guy called David, right? But I didn't find out until the last day because I didn't recognise him. It was actually David Campese, but it wasn't my fault. Nobody told me. You know what I mean?
And he is an Australian legend of the game.
Exactly. You just spotted him ahead of me, but that's only because he's an Australian.
Yeah, well, he is a legend. So what else has been going on down in your part of the world, Sandra?
Well, we've had your future king and his missus down here this week.
Oh yeah, wasn't there a moment of embarrassment or touching, inappropriate touching, I think we call it.
Yes, there was. In fact, the Australians just sort of can't keep their hands off your royals. Our royals as well.
Yes.
But yesterday, one of the heads of a charity organisation, a woman, was escorting Prince Charles around, 250 guests. And she literally, you could see it, there's a photograph of it, and she's put her hand on his bum. And she's shepherded him through the crowd. And
really?
There was a major breach of protocol.
Yeah.
Reminiscent of when our former Prime Minister Paul Keating put his arm around the Queen and was dubbed loved by the red tops as the Lizard of Oz.
Yeah,
that's right.
Well, Prince Charles may have quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It doesn't happen to him that much these days.
How is Camilla going down amongst Australia? How is Camilla going down amongst the Australian women folk? Because she is regarded as a bit of a breath of fresh air in the otherwise stuffy royal family.
Yes, no, she was doing very well. People really responded to her quite nicely. She met a 95-year-old war widow yesterday in the heart of the city, and she sat down. The woman said to her, "Well, you look a bit tired," and she said, "I am a bit tired." And she said, "Well, no wonder you're shaking too many hands." So that was the advice of a 95-year-old.
Exactly, the common touch.
Well, I don't know why you call it the royal stuffy. I mean, they're not stuffy anymore. I mean, it's not really about Charles and Camilla. It's now about William and Kate, and it's all about Prince Harry. I mean, they couldn't be any less stuffy, really.
Hang on, Mike. Prince Charles has a man who actually puts the toothpaste on his toothbrush.
Well, that's what
he's employed to do.
That's what you say.
You don't think that's stuffy?
Well, Prince Charles is not the royal family, is my point.
Well, he's the head of the royal family, more or less.
Well, no, he's not. The Queen is.
Well, I mean, Charles is effectively the head of the royal family.
Well, when you think of the royal family now, do you not think of Prince Harry? Do you not think of William and Kate? They're not stuffy.
No, well, you say that, but I mean, there's a public image.
About them, haven't you?
There's a public image and a private image. You don't know the inside of the royal family.
I'm surprised you haven't got somebody to put toothpaste on your toothbrush.
Oh, really?
How many toothbrushes have you got?
Oh, about... How many? I've actually got about 6. No,
one for each tooth.
No. One for each tooth. Honestly, what's wrong with this man? Sandra, I don't know why you find that funny. I mean, you're trying to suggest I'm some kind of toothless harridan. It's disgraceful, honestly.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sandra, listen, delightful to talk to you, as ever. What are you up to? What are you up to this weekend?
You.
What are you up to this weekend?
I'm not sure what we're going to be doing this weekend, but I'll probably listen to a podcast of you fellas and have a laugh.
Okay. But listen, we've got a job for you coming up in the new year, if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to Birmingham in England tomorrow night, right? And we're performing the Two Mics
Birmingham,
live...
England.
Birmingham, England, yeah. We're performing the Two Mics live show at the Birmingham Repertory Theatre.
Yeah, we want to come to Sydney, is what he says. Cut a long story short.
It's true. We've done a nationwide tour. It's Birmingham tomorrow. Next month, it's Glasgow. Now, we've had requests to go to New York, so we're thinking of doing a world tour. New York, California, and then round the other way round to Sydney, Australia. We need you to find us a theatre, please.
Oh, well, that's easy. I can do that for you, no problem. I'm sure that all the theatre mavens would be loving to have you guys down here.
Well, exactly.
No.
We'll have to explore that one.
We must.
Avidly.
We absolutely must.
Definitely.
It would be lovely to come down to see you. Sandra, thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend.
Yeah.
And thank you for collapsing into fits of laughter there.
Yes,
you didn't answer the question.
Oh, well, I don't know why Sandra found the fact that you said I've got 6 teeth so funny. I mean,
well, it's just one of those things, isn't it?
It's one of those things.
Yeah. In fact, I'll tell you what we're going to do a little bit later on, because I haven't really heard it yet.
Yes.
Is we were in on Tuesday. Shortly before I was struck down with the lurgy.
Oh, yes.
On Hawksby and Jacobs.
We were.
And I haven't had a chance to listen to it.
Well,
so
we shall have a listen.
I think we'll have a listen to it a little bit later on.
Okay.
A couple more tweets here. One from Masha, who says, poor MG, is Porky related to Nurse Ratchet? Remember Nurse Ratchet?
No.
From One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh, really? No, I don't remember her, no.
She was horrible. Evil personified.
Evil.
And Bill says, the plankweight champion of Chester District, Mike Ginger Whirlwind Parry.
That's me.
Ha ha.
Yeah, absolutely. No,
and Roy says...
Yeah.
Nice story about finding the widow, Porky. Did you Roger her in her grief, rat-like cunning, to get in with her?
Oh, well, I mean, that's an inappropriate statement. The woman was in grief. Her husband had just been blown up by an Exocet missile, and I did nothing but bring her comfort and succour.
Yeah. Look, it's 2:47. There's that number again.
Yeah.
This is Talk Sport. Loads more coming up.
On DAB, Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
He smashed it into the back of the net.
Football for the people.
Come on, give us a go.
It's actually Thursday night. You're going into Friday morning. Well, I suppose it is Friday morning now. We're going to do a bit of Ask Porky, because we missed it on Tuesday night because I was unfortunately incapacitated and not able to be here. So, as long as you're willing to help as many people as you possibly could.
Oh, indeed.
Mr. Parry, I've got some great questions here. Someone came in on Twitter. And you can always send them in at the Two Mics. You can also now send them in on the Facebook page, which is the Two Mics. If you go and find it on Facebook, we have published the link on Twitter as well. First one is from Dan.
Right.
And this is on Facebook. He says, ask Porky, who is stronger, Hulk or Superman?
Hulk or Superman. The stronger of the two is obviously Superman, because Superman has limitless powers. The Hulk had restricted powers, i.e. there are only certain things the Hulk could do. Superman, for instance, could take an atomic weapon and fly into space with it and take it so far out of space that when it blew up, it did nothing except release the master criminals who'd been exiled into everlasting
a lot about this,
oblivion.
Yeah, I had no idea you were such an expert.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Hulk was a man of limited abilities. He could only do it on planet Earth, and he could only do it on the ground.
The thing about the Hulk as well was that, I mean, it's not much good if you're only a Superman type figure, superhero, if you're angry.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that means that you're actually, you're getting that way by accident.
But not only that, the Hulk wasn't necessarily a power for good. The Hulk was an ugly creature whose shirt blew off, who frightened people around him, whereas Superman brought only what I said before, succour and comfort to people, and a feeling of well-being.
Yes.
The Hulk didn't. The Hulk frightened people.
True. Now, Lee says, which fictional character do you believe in is most like yourself?
That's no problem at all with that. It's J.R. Ewing. Without a shadow of a doubt, I model a lot of my life on J.R. Ewing. The reason I drive a Mercedes...
He's a pretty evil, twisted character.
No. The reason I drive a Mercedes is because J.R. Ewing drove a Mercedes, and that was quite...
Really?
Yes, that was quite...
But you used to drive a Jaguar.
Well, I did until I saw some replays of Dallas, and I thought, no, that is the power car. That's the car that proper people drive. And what I was going to say is that when J.R. Ewing, which was played by Larry Hagman, opted for a Mercedes in Dallas, he got a lot of abuse from Americans who said he should have been driving an American car.
There was a lot of that
Continental
at the time,
and all that kind of stuff. And he said no.
My ex-wife's father would never drive anything but an American car.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
He was offered a Japanese car at one point, and he wouldn't take it.
And he said, no, I'm portraying an oil magnate. Oil magnates do their own thing. I want a Mercedes. And so he had it written to his contract that he had a Mercedes which could use offset, and I decided that's the way to go, OK? And we have internationalism now, and it doesn't really matter whether you're driving an English car or a German car. I wanted the best. I took a Mercedes. That's what you're doing. I love the way that J.R. Ewing did he did some things which were underhanded and somewhat
unethical.
Unethical, but it was always to defend his family, to defend his company, to defend his own reputation, to defend the people around him. In my view, he was the perfect human being.
The perfect human being.
J.R.
You've
Ewing.
really lost it. Now,
wealthy beyond everybody's dreams. That's a good thing.
And you admire people who are wealthy.
I do.
You prefer to spend time with rich people, don't you?
I've never said that.
Yes, you have.
But I do admire wealthy people. That's usually because they've got greater talents than most that makes them wealthy.
Even if they've inherited it.
If they've inherited and hung on to it, you've got to have some respect for them. Lord Gerald Grosvenor is a friend of mine, the Duke of Westminster.
What do you mean he's a friend of yours?
He's a friend of mine.
When was the last time you spoke to him?
He was chairman of the Board of Governors at the King's School, Chester. And therefore, and he has...
You're answering a question that hasn't been asked.
He has multiplied the family fortune he inherited at 21 100 times, and that's one of the biggest property empires in the world. That's the sort of guy...
And he's your mate?
Yes, that's the sort of guy who looks after inherited wealth. I'm not going to answer that question. He's a member of the royal family, associate of the royal family, and I don't talk about those personal relationships.
Right. Now, where we were talking before about cars and Mercedes, there's a question here about one from Adrian. It says, a bit of a dilemma here, Porky. I need to get the Merc serviced, and I have a choice of getting it serviced at a local official Mercedes garage with proper parts that is more expensive, or with a local independent man of the people who is cheaper, but who will use parts from God knows where. Who do I use?
You go to the official Mercedes dealer, because don't you realise the minute
the more money you pay, the better.
No, the minute you walk into that showroom with all those gleaming Mercedes around you, you have become somebody. But if you go down
You actually believe that, don't you?
Of course. If you go down to Fred's garage, which will be the equivalent of Kevin Webster's, run-down, knockabout garage in Coronation Street, a grubby backstreet merchant, you will not improve your own reputation, you will detract from it.
Right, so there's one from George. Yes. Who says, Dear Porkmeister, is it OK for me to collect phone numbers off girls I meet in pubs and bars, even though I have a steady girlfriend? I don't plan to meet up with them, but I like the challenge of obtaining the digits and I get a rush from it. It's not cheating, is it?
I think this is a very good thing. I think you should do it. And I think variety is the spice of life. You should collect the phone numbers. No, I didn't say that. You should collect the phone numbers, definitely. Because remember, even if you are in a relationship with somebody now, you might not be tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then you get into your little black book and you by the way, when you get a phone number, supposing the phone number was 0213456, right, then at the end you put dark hair, long legs, pretty smile, so you can remember who it is, because you collect so many phone numbers sometimes, or I used to at that age, where you can't actually remember what the girl looks like whose phone number you've got.
Did you not put something next to the phone number to say there's an aide de memoire?
I've just explained that to you, but you weren't listening. I said that you put marks like dark haired or long legs or something like that, you know.
Really?
Black stilettos and all that kind of stuff. No,
That's horrendous.
No, it's not. It's to give you a mental image of who you're ringing. Yeah. What's the point of ringing somebody who's got a very nice voice at the other end?
Well, what about a name?
But you can't remember what they look like because you've got so many phone numbers. That's all I'm saying. At that age.
You must have mixed some of those up. Now, how about this one from Jonathan?
Yes.
Is Nessie real?
No, Nessie's not real. Nessie has never been real. There can't be a Loch Ness monster because within Loch Ness there's not enough fish to sustain a monster who would need tons and tons and tons of nutrition each day and who can't get it from a freshwater lake that's not got any fish in it at all. Nessie never existed and never will. Nessie, in fact, was a con trick made... the idea there was a monster there was put up by a group of Highlands and Islands hoteliers in the 1930s who employed a London-based PR man to start the rumour about Nessie.
OK. Here's one from Kevin. Ask Porky if someone deposited money in his account by mistake, would he hold his hands up or skip to the nearest Wetherspoons, get a table for one and get bladderated for free?
I'd give the money back. I'd give the money back immediately, right? Because I have no desire whatsoever to be amongst the League of Thieves. I used to have a friend, who I don't have anymore, who was a driver and used to drive for one of the editors you and I worked for, OK? And he told me this grubby story about how he was in, one of these cafes that taxi drivers stop at, to have a cup of coffee.
Like a cabbie's rest.
Yeah, sort of cabbie's rest, but it wasn't an official cabbie's rest. It was like Joe's Caff or something like that, you know what I mean? And a chap in there who was an American, don't know what an American tourist was doing in a greasy spoon, but he got up to leave and a package fell out of the back pocket of his jeans.
Oh, yeah.
And this guy went down, picked up the package, was about to hand it back to him, but then the sensing in his fingers was that there were notes of some form in this envelope, so he didn't give it back.
Really?
And he opened it, and there were $1,000 US, so he effectively stole it. And he told me that story, and I never spoke to him again.
I don't blame you. That's horrible.
Absolutely.
Now, final one, I think, because we might be out of time on this one.
OK.
This is from Daniel. He says, my missus' family has asked us round for Christmas dinner at their house. However, they won't supply me with slippers to wear on their new carpet, and I'm not buying any as I don't wear them in my own home.
Yes.
What do you suggest?
Well, don't go. Either take your own slippers, which is a good idea anyway.
Take your own slippers.
Take your own slippers, because you don't want to wear slippers other people wear, because, remember, other people's feet and socks have been in those slippers, and you don't know whether they've got bunions or verrucas or something like that.
So you have to have disposable slippers then?
Well, listen, do you know what I do? Whenever I fly business class, which is all the time, if you see what I mean, when I'm flying, I always take those slippers they give you on planes and collect a few others that people haven't opened.
In hotels as well.
Yes, and the hotels. The fluffy ones they give you in hotels with the fluffy robe.
Yeah.
I take those home as well. And I keep all those slippers in my house. And I sometimes take them with me when I go to other people's homes and wear them in other people's homes. Or if people come into my home, I insist they put them on. I insist they put them on in my home.
Well, nobody comes to your home, though, do they?
Well, I try to make sure nobody does. I don't want people impregnating my home with their own germs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I do try to keep people out. Yes, that's true.
Now, I wish there was time for another question. If you can give me one quick answer on this one, I can squeeze this one in.
Go on.
After last Sunday's point at home to City, are you still convinced Aston Villa are doomed?
I am convinced Aston Villa are doomed. Aston Villa will go down.
Are you?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure you're wrong about that.
Everyone knows that all the best things come in threes. 3 Amigos, 3 Stooges, 3 Lions. And right now, if you sign up to 888 Sport, you'll get treble the odds on your first bet. Join 888 Sport and harness the power of 3 with treble the odds on your first bet. New customers only, minimum £5 bet to qualify, maximum £10 bet at treble odds. Bet at normal odds, extra winnings added within 72 hours, extra winnings paid in cash. Maximum extra winnings capped at £5,000. See site for full T's and C's.
18 plus.
Welcome to Sounds Fantastic. Now, can you identify this sound? That was a hippopotamus accidentally tripping over a harpsichord. Now, what about this sound?
Go compare.
Yeah, that's the sound that's already helped billions of people save money on their car insurance.
Is where you go to insure your motor. Nothing quite compares to Go Compare.
Sounds fantastic.
Pneumonia strikes up to 1 in 100 of us every year. Don't let it be you. Vaccination can help protect you from the most common type of pneumonia. Speak to your pharmacist, doctor or nurse about pneumococcal pneumonia vaccination today. Or search Pneumonia Strikes. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Race of Champions is back. A two-day motorsport spectacular inside the former London Olympic Stadium. Vettel, Lorenzo, Button, Coulthard, Massa, and many of the world's greatest racing head-to-head in awesome cars. Stunts, world records, plus entertainment with Chris Hoy, Ben Ainsley, and others in the Celebrity Challenge. The only place on Earth where stars of Formula One, Rally, MotoGP, Le Mans, IndyCar battle each other. Friday and Saturday, 20th, 21st of November. Tickets from £24 at ticketmaster.co.uk.
Don't phone your mother. Phone Talk Sport.
Football on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
Athletico Radio.
Talk Sport.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two Mikes. Porky Quiz coming up very shortly. Also, of course, there will be a podcast coming out a little bit later on. Now, I've got a question for you here that I didn't get to ask you during Ask Porky because I'm delighted to say that Mr. Parry just handed me copies of our DVD, which I hadn't, in fact, actually had in my possession.
Well, you've been ill.
Because I haven't been here.
Yes.
I'm going to put a picture out because it's very exciting stuff.
Yes.
But I've got a question here from Zach in Plymouth who says, "Morning, two Mikes. I bought the DVD on Monday. When should I expect to receive it? And can you come down to the southwest so I can see you live?" On the receiving front, it should be any day now, really, shouldn't it?
Well, I'll tell you exactly what the programme was. We expected them to land on Tuesday morning, but they landed Tuesday night.
Right.
They got stuck at Calais. They're actually pressed in Holland.
Right.
But the first ones went out on Wednesday. So if you've already ordered prior to Wednesday... I hope you've got it by now. Should have got it in the post today.
Yeah.
They're all going first-class postage.
Well, he sent a message in, so he hasn't got it yet. Otherwise, he would have sent the message in, would he?
Yeah, well, how do you know he hasn't got it yet?
Well, because he just sent the message in.
When did he order it?
Well, he said he ordered it on Monday.
He ordered it on Monday?
Yeah.
Through the...
Well, there might be other people ahead of him, that's all I'm saying.
Well, there is a backlog because we've had an unexpectedly positive response to it.
I would think, Zach, Friday or Saturday,
I would say so. I mean, to be honest, the office they're coming from, the distribution plant, we're planning on sending out about 60 or 70 a day, and it's about 3 times that on a daily basis now. So we're trying to catch up with it. But don't worry, because this weekend we're reviewing it all, and we get back, from Birmingham, and we will speed up the distribution, and we've got another shipment coming in on Tuesday, so we can get them out faster.
So it's all go, basically.
It is.
So I mean, if you've ordered it, you should get your hands on it very soon, which will be very exciting.
Yes, indeed.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Now we've got the carry on thing coming up very shortly as well. How about this one from Bob in Sheffield? You two should open a pub and call it the Two Mikes. You could even have a room for smokers. The pub would be full every night.
Yeah, maybe we should do.
The Two Mikes pub.
Well, funny enough,
the trouble is pubs are in decline, aren't they? Here's the problem. What's wrong with you?
Sorry, I just had a...
You're not having a heart spasm?
No, I'm not having a heart spasm.
We can't have another bad health day.
No.
I've had 2 of them already.
No, I had an airlock then in my...
an airlock?
Esophagus, yes. Sorry about that.
That doesn't sound good.
No, it doesn't. Can I just tell people, please, that a week today, today's Friday... We are going to be at the Sports Bar and Grill in Waterloo Station in London.
Yes.
To sell and sign copies of our video from 5 p.m.
Next Friday.
Next Friday.
Yes.
And then on a Friday after that, we're not sure which one, we will be at a similar establishment, Sports Bar and Grill in Canary Wharf. Yeah. And that is because we have set up a relationship with Sports Bar and Grill.
It's a drinking relationship.
A drinking relationip. We are.
It's a brand relationship.
No, it's a drinking relationship.
Is it?
Like people have favoured, like Manchester United have.
They've got a noodle company that sponsors them, haven't they?
They've got a noodle company.
We could get a noodle company.
Yeah. They've got favourite computer company, favourite noodle company, favourite travel company.
Yeah.
Like you see.
This has got a bottomless pit. This one, isn't it?
Yeah. Like National Express, right on the side. Coach choice of the Football Association and all that kind of stuff, right?
Oh, actually, I meant to talk to you about that.
What?
Did you not see that story today that they've decided to call the English Football League now?
Yes, the English Football League. Yeah.
Well, surely the FA are going to be next, aren't they?
Well, you'd think so because I've told you the problems. I have a story about our relationship. So we have now an officially established drinking relationship with the chain of sports bar and grill restaurants and pubs in London.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're very much looking forward to all of that.
Run by a guy called Dave Owens.
Yeah, we should be very careful not to overindulge.
No, it's
obviously.
not. No, it's not. It's run by a guy called Dave Evans.
Is it?
Dave Evans.
Should we not know the name of the guy that we've entered into?
Yeah. But let me tell you where the confusion is. His name is Dave Evans, right? And he has this chain of pubs, and he's a very successful businessman. But his moniker in business is Dave owns bars.
I see, right.
See what I mean? That's his...
because he does?
Yes, that's right, yeah. So people think his name's Dave Owens, it's not, it's Dave Evans. So I'll just make that clear.
All right, thank you very much. By the way, in answer to the other bit of that question about will you come to Plymouth, we might do.
Yes. We might do.
We're looking at a whole bunch of places to go next week. But let's go back to the FA thing.
Yes.
I was quite surprised because calling it the English Football League is obviously a move in the direction of trying to kind of disestablish themselves from the arrogant view that some people think English football has.
Well, you're absolutely right. Adrian Bevington was the last chief executive of the Football Association before they sort of reorganised life at the top, OK? Now, Bevo used to be head of media at the FA, and he was a very good friend of mine, still is a very good friend of mine. He's now set up his own business in communications. He'll be very successful. But when we used to go abroad, whenever we went to an official function or something, I used to go with him. He'd shake hands with the guy from the other association, and he'd say, Spanish Football Association, Italian Football Association, Football Association of Argentina, or something like that. And Adrian would always say, hi, Adrian Bevington, chief executive, the English Football Association. Now, his predecessor, who was, Adam Croze was one of them. Used to call themselves, because it was in fact their official name, the Football Association.
Right.
And that was on the basis that as they were the first football association, they were called the Football Association. In the same way that the British Open Golf Tournament is called the Open.
Yeah, but that's always been called the Open.
Yeah, well, the Football Association's always been called the Football Association. But whereas in golf, I think you can hold with the tradition, because there's only 4 majors in the world, the 3 of them in America anyway, so it distinguishes it. In this instant, with football, I think you've got to call it the English Football Association. It's just too pompous to say, well, we don't have to brand ours with a nationality.
But isn't the point of changing it to the English Football Association then the expectation that somehow the FA will be treated differently and will be warmly welcomed more than they are currently in Europe? And I don't think that's going to change anything. I mean, I don't care what they call it, and I see why they would want to change it, but it's not going to change perceptions. The reason they think English football is arrogant is because the people that run English football probably give off that particular vibe.
Well, they do if they walk into a room with a card which says the Football Association, because that gives the impression that we think we're superior to every other football association.
Well, we do, don't we?
But that's the point. No, we don't. And we don't brand it with a nationality. I mean, how can we possibly say we're better than the German Football Association? Yeah,
but it's an inherent kind of DNA, if you like, of being British or being English, perhaps. Is that tends to be the thing that comes out.
Yes. No,
and I don't think you can change that just by changing the name.
Well, I think you can, and I think you should as well, to be honest. I think it's a bit antiquated now, to be perfectly honest. I've just seen a picture of 4 of the greatest rock and rollers in the history of my lifetime and yours, right? How about this? Who is this? Oh, yeah, Rick Wakeman. At the age of 66.
He's a great guy.
Brian May at the age of 68.
Another great guy.
Noddy Holder at the age of 69.
Also great.
Jimmy Page at the age of 71.
Amazing.
And they all turn up to the same do, right? They are worth, between them all, they're worth over £500 million.
Well, Noddy Holder's getting ready for his busiest time of the year in terms of royalties, isn't he? For his,
he makes $500,000 every
Christmas,
year. He makes $500,000. And that's not because on the number of plays, it's because every year some business comes around, and it's not always British, by the way. It could be in Australia or Scandinavia.
Have you seen that John Lewis ad yet, by the way? Because we spoke about it Monday night.
I haven't seen it yet.
You've still not seen it? What have you been doing?
Oh, well, I just, work incessantly to make things work for the 2 mics. Like things in Birmingham, things in Glasgow, DVDs. Do you know how much time and effort and hours I put in getting that DVD?
I know.
Out,
well, it's a superb looking thing.
It started.
I'm going to send a picture out.
Started, on a Friday night on a stage in the Hen and Chickens in Highbury, North London. It now ends as a worldwide release, right? Do you know what you have to do to be a magnet like that, to get that sort of operation?
Well, you don't get much sleep, I would imagine.
Don't get much sleep.
But I worry about you, see. I don't think if you get enough sleep that you're going to live much longer. Okay. And there's no point in building up this great business that we're going to have if you're going to drop dead, is there?
Well, that's absolutely true.
I mean, that would be pointless.
Absolutely true. No, the reason I mention these great rock and rollers is because they've all turned out tonight. And, I mean, they do simply... They look magnificent, to have worn so well and the lives that they must have led. Rick Wakeman's looking a bit sort of bit rough around the edges, really.
Well, considering what these guys have been doing all their lives,
that's right.
I mean, they've slowed down a bit in the last probably 20 years.
I don't think, for instance, you could accuse Brian May of ever having been, the typical rock
he's
and
an
roller.
astrophysicist, isn't he?
He's an astrophysicist, and he fights to save the badger and all that kind of stuff.
But I'm sure that there were periods in his life when he was with a rock band
I doubt very much.
straddling the world. There was a lot of partying going on.
I doubt very much whether he was going around stuffing cocaine up his nose or taking tablets and all that kind of stuff.
Overindulging with women.
I doubt this very...
Really?
No. And he's been married to Angie from EastEnders, hasn't he, for about 25 years?
Yeah, they got the same hair.
The same hair, that's right. They have, absolutely. And I have to say that the one who looks most happy about life is old Jimmy Page. But then again, I read a piece on him recently for some Led Zeppelin anniversary, which said he used to date literally 25 women at the same time.
Yeah.
And sometimes when he went out for a night, he would literally have to take a minibus because you'd take eight girls out in the same night or something like that.
Staggering.
That's good going, isn't it?
It's not bad, I have to say.
We should try that, you know.
I don't think we can manage
We should try that.
at our age.
Anyway, we should get a minibus and ask 6 or 8 young ladies to accompany us on a pub crawl. Round, I don't know, down the south coast or something. Yeah? How about that?
Great idea.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
We shall see. Here's Mike Parry. I'm Mike Graham. Loads more coming up.
Talk Sport on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. The enduring home of football.
It's modern radio, only better.
Talk Sport.
Till it's gone, don't let your mother know. Don't go out tonight, don't even try to fight. Cause I can see, I got the thing you need. And I'm here to say, it's gonna be that way.
Now, talking about people that have led some incredible lives, it's quite a sad story today about Phil Taylor, the Motorhead drummer. That's Ace of Spades, of course, by Motorhead. He died at the age of 61. Phil Taylor, known as Filthy Animal, they used to call him, Philthy.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, he was. I mean, the Motorhead were the kind of bikers band, weren't they? And they looked as if they'd never washed. And Lemmy was the guy who first sort of made it fashionable not to have any front teeth. And
is that right?
They used to do all these heavy metal festivals at Reading when it used to be like that. I was never a massive Motorhead fan, but I bet they were brilliant live.
Live bands don't really turn me on. I've told you that before because it never sounds like the disc version of the music that I like, and it puts me off having to go to a live band and see them struggling to replicate studio sound. And I never liked the record again.
Yeah, but they don't. That's not the point. They don't try to replicate the studio sound.
Should.
But bands like Motorhead are sort of bands that you should see live because that's what it's all about. It's all about the energy. It's all about the kind of
I saw Mungo Jerry live once. They were brilliant.
Well, yeah, I know, but
they
sang
it in
comparable.
the summertime because that was an easy song to replicate. You know what I mean?
It's not really comparable. He'd been ill for some time. It says he was only 61, but he played with the band for 14 years.
And what did he die of?
I just thought we should mark it. Well, it just said he'd been ill for a while, so we're not sure.
Dear, that's sad.
But I mean, I think these guys have certainly lived a life of debauchery.
You know the jockey who died this week, the greatest ever jockey. What's his name?
Pat Edry.
Yeah. In all the obituaries and everything, there's no reference whatsoever to what he died of. He's only 63. So you thought...
Well, sometimes that's because the family don't wish to have it disclosed.
Well, exactly. And you thought to yourself, well, dear me, do you have cancer? Anyway, funny enough, his daughter gave the first proper interview yesterday about, what happened to her dad, and admitted that he'd been battling a drink problem for many years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
a lot of jockeys
about it.
have that sort of scenario, don't they, really?
Yes.
The other terrible story, which happened earlier on yesterday as well, was this young goalkeeper, Martin Fulop, who was only 32, played for Spurs, Leicester, Manchester City, died of cancer, a malignant tumour.
That's terrible.
Was removed from his arm.
That is terrible.
Back in 2013. It's awful when you see that kind of story.
Well, of course it is, and particularly amongst young people and all that, and we all take life so much for granted, and then something like that really shakes you up. And, cancer in young people, a terrible thing, isn't it? Because the great problem is they know for so many months, maybe even years, that they're struggling to stay alive. And it breaks your heart when you go to a hospital, because it actually happens at Harefield, where I'm an outpatient. There are some people in there who I'm afraid are terminal cases.
Yeah.
And the worst thing, Mike, is we don't have nearly enough transplanted organs in this country. And some people know that they are literally they're on the list to die unless they get a heart or a lung or a liver or a heart and lung.
But it's a very complicated process, isn't it? Because it's all very well to say, we may have a donor, but then there's time involved, and you have to do things very quickly, and depending on what part of the country or the world.
I met one patient there who was a young girl, and she had been flown by air ambulance 4 times to a transplant hospital and told, this is it. And then at the last moment, when the surgeons take the final scope off both the patient and the donated heart, they find it doesn't match, and the operation doesn't take place. 4 times that happened to her, and on each time,
which must be worse actually than not even trying to do it.
Awful,
because if you think think you've got some hope and then it falls through,
that's
that must be a nightmare.
No, totally agree.
But I mean, lots more people, I suppose, than there used to be are now carrying donor cards and all of that, and there's always a sort of campaign every year to try and up the number.
Yeah, well, I think we should adopt, what some foreign countries do, and that is they
assume you should opt out.
Exactly. Yeah. Unless you've got an opt-out card, they take your organs.
Yeah.
And I can't see anything wrong with that, to be honest.
No, I can't really either.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funnily enough, whenever you talk about it on the radio and you get people phoning in, it's quite a sort of emotive subject, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
because I think a lot of people say, well, the family don't want the kidneys taken out or the heart or anything like
why?
That. But in the end, what's the problem?
They shrivel to dust anyway, don't they, eventually, or they get burnt.
I think it's the idea
whatever.
Of the sort of desecration of the body.
Well, I can understand that. In certain religions, I can. But then again, if you look at the overall pattern of religion, what it's all about, isn't it all about live and let live and all that? If you're helping somebody else to extend their life after yours is gone.
Well,
anyway,
that's what your Christianity supposedly teaches you. But, we shall see.
Yeah.
Bill says, come on, Porky, live music trumps CDs every time. Saw U2 last Friday in Glasgow, absolutely magnificent. And Rep says...
Hang on, he saw us in Glasgow?
No, saw U2.
Oh, U2.
Not U2 as in U2.
Yeah, I thought you were saying it's all U2.
Yeah.
I was going to say...
you can see us in Glasgow in December the 5th.
That's right, at the garage in Sauchiehall Street.
That's right. Johnny says, not a massive Motorhead fan either, but I love the cover of the Ace of Spades. And now and then I will say, but I will say R.I.P.
R.I.P., eh?
Here's one from Andy. Is the DVD going to be available on Amazon? Not at the moment. No, you have to get it through the twomics.co.uk.
Yeah.
I'm afraid.
Which incidentally, is so easy. All you have to do is literally go to that, and then it directs you to... Is it a PayPal thing, is it?
It's PayPal, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
and then we'll send it to you. It's no problem at all.
Here's one from Bob. Is the FA antiquated? Come on, chaps. What's in the name? Of course the FA remains a special association.
Of course
I think he's in defence of it.
No, it is a special association, but the difficulty with the FA in this country is that they look after everything from the West Riding Football Association and its pitches and its corner flags and its referees and its funding and all that, right the way up to the World Cup.
Yeah.
And it's just too big a responsibility, and somebody's got to get a grip of it and say, look, we're going to break it down into constituent parts. You know what I mean?
Well, I was interested in... I mentioned this earlier about Stuart Lancaster, because obviously I didn't get a chance to talk about this the other day when he quit. But there's a piece on the top of the front of the Telegraph Sport. World's best coaches turn their backs on England.
Yeah. A
setback for the RFU as New Zealand and Australia candidates rule themselves out.
Yeah.
And I read an interesting piece yesterday where, in all of this kind of myths, and I mean, we still haven't had Russell Hargreaves on the show, which we'll have to do soon.
Yes.
To answer the inevitable questioning.
Rugby correspondent.
Yeah, well, because of the big row you and he had when you said this guy's a PE teacher,
not up to it.
He's not up to it. And everybody now has agreed with you, basically. And I mean, I agreed with you then.
Yes.
But the interesting thing is...
No, you didn't.
No, I did. I've always said that. Yes, I've always said that. The one thing that I have always said is that Lancaster does not look the type. But apparently... people are now discovering that, although he was said to be this kind of, guy who had not been part of the RFU and he had not been really,
well, that's pretty
steeped
obvious.
in it. Well, no, but he was, though. He was part of the sort of, the grassroots campaign, working in all of that.
He was a former
school
teacher.
But he had never worked at any kind of, until he went to play South Africa, before he went to Millennium Stadium to play Wales, he'd never been to a game there.
No,
that's incredible, isn't it?
It is pretty incredible.
And I worry that the RFU is a bit like the FA, and whether the FA is better now under Greg Dyke, I don't know. But they're full of these old farts, as Will Carling used to call them, who haven't got a clue.
No, well, it could
and that's
well
why
be.
none of these, fantastic coaches from the Southern Hemisphere are going to bother coming.
That's right. But, I told you the moment I knew it was all over for Stuart Lancaster was when in the run-up to the World Cup opener, he said two things. First, he said, yes, we're ready. And I thought... Really? Ralph Ramsey said, yes, we're going to win the World Cup.
Yeah.
So, yes, we're ready is rather a nebulous statement.
Well, I suppose it's better than saying we're not ready.
Well, exactly, yeah. Well, he couldn't say that, else he should have been fired then. But secondly, when he started crouching down, like Andre Villas-Boas used to do, it's all over. Because you know why they do that, don't you? I spoke to a psychologist about this. Yeah. They do that to make themselves smaller.
Right.
Because they don't want to be in the public eye. Yeah. They don't feel... But,
Lancaster was clearly not comfortable with the press.
No, exactly.
Although apparently he got on very well with lots of members of the press because he would call them personally, and he, I think he thought that if he did that when the end came, they'd spare him.
Yeah, but one of the reasons why I knew from the start that this man was hopeless was because he never ever seemed to have an argument with a member of the press. B, he never ever scowled in a press conference when asked a question. Right. And C, he was, as you quite rightly say, always sitting there, always smiling. Yeah. There's something wrong with a guy who feels so self-contented in life and doesn't realise you've got massive responsibilities to live up to.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Brendan says, I saw Motorhead at Glastonbury this year and they were excellent and had a great response from the crowd. I think they are. I mean, some bands are just made to be seen live because they just have a great kind of rapport with the band, you know?
Apparently, what's the name of the Californian band, the Eagles, are brilliant live.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And if you hear them sing Hotel California live, apparently it is the most brilliant sort of production. I didn't realise that the singer in the Eagles is the drummer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who's that? That's not Don Henley, is it?
Don Henley.
Don Henley.
With an N.
Oh, with an N.
Henley upon Thames.
Henley upon Thames. Is he the drummer?
He is, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
A bit like Phil Collins.
Oh, really? Yeah, okay, yeah.
We talked about Phil Collins. Now, we're getting up there. The show's nearly over already, and it's time for the Porky Quiz.
Well, it soon will be.
It's coming up next.
Get a generous helping of the latest odds and tasty tips with Paddy's Punts. Every weekday afternoon from 4 on Drive with Durham and Goffey on Talk Sport with Paddy Power. You're welcome. With the form on the football.
What a game.
The going on the GGs.
And they're off.
The crack on the cricket. 6. And lashings of Paddy's famous generosity.
Come on, gives a break. It's only a bit of crack, isn't it?
Get your tips while they're hot with Paddy's Punts. Weekday afternoons from 4 with Adrian Durham and Darren Goff on Talk Sport with Paddy Power. You're welcome.
The BMW i3. It's not just an electric car. It's an electric car that drives like a BMW. Rentals from £299 per month. Discover more at bmw.co.uk/i3. £3,699 initial rental, 36-month hire agreement from BMW Financial Services, subject to status and availability for new vehicles ordered before 31st of December 2015 and registered by 31st of March 2016. UK only, guarantees may be required. Mileage and other conditions apply when you return the vehicle.
In cellars and ceilings.
And under bonnet dealings.
Up ladders and poles.
In caves and down holes.
With the dog in the park when it's well after dark, or to highlight the routes of your outdoor pursuits.
In fact, any time you're without a light in the middle of the day or the night, choose LED Lensa, the world's leading brand of LED torches and headlights for professionals. LED Lensa have an award-winning range of high-performance, precision-engineered torches to suit everyone from tradesmen to adventurers. Find your right light at ledlensa.co.uk.
Race of Champions is back. A 2-day motorsport spectacular inside the former London Olympic Stadium. Vettel, Lorenzo, Button, Coulthard, Massa, and many of the world's greatest racing head-to-head in awesome cars. Stunts, world records, plus entertainment with Chris Hoy, Ben Ainsley, and others in the Celebrity Challenge. The only place on Earth where stars of Formula One, Rally, MotoGP, Le Mans, IndyCar battle each other. Friday and Saturday, 20th, 21st of November. Tickets from £24 at ticketmaster.co.uk.
Talk Sport.
And it's in!
A diving header at the end of a 50-yard run.
From the root to the tip.
Talk Sport.
Mike, it is that time of the week, of course, when it's time for the Porky Quiz, the place where Mr. Parry gets to show his expertise in any number of different subjects.
Yes.
This week's quiz, the chosen subject by you earlier on, was carry-on movies.
Yes.
And quite a remarkable number of them, of course. And are you ready to take this quiz?
I am ready.
Are you feeling confident?
I'm feeling confident.
If you get something right, you will hear this sound. If you get something wrong, you will hear this sound.
All right, yeah, right, okay.
Does that sound familiar to you?
Yeah, sounds familiar. Yeah.
Right, now,
yes.
I'm not sure that you won't do all right on this quiz, actually.
Right.
I'm going to say you might get 5 out of 10.
Hey.
Question number 1.
Yes.
How many carry-on films were made?
Altogether?
Yes.
32.
Incorrect.
No!
It was 31.
No!
It's 31.
No!
It is 31. Surely you would have researched that.
I did. It was 32. It was a Christmas special.
No, the Christmas specials don't count.
Oh.
Question number 2.
Jerry Manderer.
How many of those starred Leslie Phillips?
Leslie Phillips was in 7.
Incorrect.
No.
He was in 4.
4.
Question number 3.
That's nearly 7.
Well, it's nearly 7, but it's also nearly half of 7. In which film did Jack Douglas make his first cameo appearance?
That was in Carry On at Your Convenience.
Incorrect.
No.
This is not going well.
No.
It's Carry On Matron.
No.
Question number 4.
Hang on, which one was Jack Douglas? See the one whose glasses used to keep falling off and he had like a gurning face?
Well, I don't know. You're the expert.
Yeah,
I didn't put the questions together.
And a flat cap.
All right. Yeah. Question number 4.
Yeah.
Who starred in the most Carry On films?
The man who starred in the most carry-on films was Kenneth Williams.
Correct.
Yes, thank you.
26 films he was in. Now, question number 5. The Rank organisation produced the films from 1967 to 1992.
Yeah.
Which company produced the pre-1967 ones?
It was a company called something like, but almost definitely, Anglo-American Film Distributors.
I'm going to give you half a point for that.
Oh.
Because it's actually Anglo-Amalgamated Film Distributors.
Well, there you go. That's right, then.
Could you not read the writing on your crib sheet?
What crib sheet?
I'm just asking.
No.
You got it nearly right.
No.
And the second word, the second word started with an A.
Yeah,
and why would you say Anglo-American Film Distributors?
Anglo-Am, I said.
You've written it down somewhere.
I have not, and I said Anglo-Am. I should get a no. Come on, you've got to give me that.
I'll give you. I can't give you Anglo-amalgamated instead of Anglo-American.
Yes, you can. Anglo-Am. I said Anglo-Am.
I've given you half a point for it. 1.5 out of 5.
Damn cheat.
Question number 6.
Yes.
How many Christmas specials did they do?
They did 4 Christmas specials.
Correct.
Yes.
In which case, why did you say 32 for the first answer, including 1 Christmas special?
Well, because there was one special that was turned into a film. No,
really?
there was. I got that right. I'm in my own head. I've got.
In your own head,
I've got 3.5 now.
In your own head, you've got a lot of things going on. Right. So you've got 2.5 out of 6. Question number 7.
3.5. Yeah.
Have a listen to this.
My mother says I mustn't have too much drink. It can lead to a girl's ruin.
Oh, I'm beginning to love your mother.
Mm-hmm.
Drink inflames the ardour.
Yes, the more you have, the harder it gets. To stop drinking, I mean.
With all those beautiful ladies in there, why on earth did you pick on me?
No, there's a couple of things, I suppose.
Oh, Madge, you're only after one thing.
Why? What's the matter with the other one?
I have to say, it does make you laugh, doesn't it?
Yes.
Now, can you identify which movie that was from?
Now, that was either... Carry On.
Are you thinking alive?
Hang on, thinking aloud. It was either Carry On Camping, Carry On Cowboy, which Jim Dale was in.
There's no point looking at me for clues.
Hang on, Carry On Camping, Carry On Cowboy, or Carry On Cabby. Could have been Carry On Cabby, because Jim... what's the name of that actor there? Sidney James was in that.
Yes.
So I'm going to go...
the most famous carry-on man of all time.
I'm going to go for Carry On Camping.
Incorrect.
No.
It was from Carry On Henry.
Carry On Henry.
The part of Henry,
Henry VIII. He was he was the best ever Henry VIII. He was voted... No, Sid
Really?
James was voted the best ever Henry VIII. Of all the dramatic actors who played Henry VIII in any film, including A Man for All Seasons, which was Robert Shaw from Jaws fame.
Yeah, and The Sting.
Yeah, and The Sting. Sid James was voted the best, yeah.
Well, what was that, in a Carry On fan club's poll?
No, in a poll of...
He didn't sound very regal.
Of drama critics.
No.
Yeah.
Question. So you got 2.5 out of 7.
So I should be given a point just for giving you all that information.
Yeah, but you don't get points for answering questions that haven't been asked.
I should.
Question number...
You asked the wrong questions. I've got all the answers. You just asked the wrong questions.
Yeah, I know that's one of the great flaws of this particular competition. Yeah, question number 8. Yes. Where was Carry On Up the Khyber filmed?
Carry On Up the Khyber. Now, thinking aloud, I could say, the border pass between Pakistan and Afghanistan, where the Khyber Pass is. But guess what?
What?
Guess what?
What?
As a child... On a day out with my parents, we came across a film unit near Bala Lake at the foot of Snowdon, Mount Snowdon.
This is like that scene from the Slumdog Millionaire.
Is it?
When they have the kid in the room and they're quizzing him as to how he knew the answers to things.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Have you not seen that film?
No, I haven't seen
that.
Have
you not seen Slumdog Millionaire?
No, but I'm going to see it. I'm going to watch it.
It's a great film.
So I'm saying Mount Snowdon.
Correct.
Hey! Woo, woo, woo,
no, because this is a kid who does really well on the Indian version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Oh, I see.
And nobody can understand how he keeps winning and getting all these answers
right. And how
right.
does he? Is he cheating?
They're assuming that he's cheating because he's a poor kid from one of the slums.
I see.
And he shouldn't know all this stuff. But then he explains how he knew the answer to each of the questions, and it's all about something that he saw or something that he witnessed, you know.
So he must have seen and witnessed a lot in his young life.
Well, he did, yeah. Question. So you got 3.5 out of 8.
Question, 4.5.
3.5.
I got the first one right.
No, you didn't.
I did. I said 31.
Yeah, you said 32.
I said 32. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was 32.
No, it was 31.
Yeah, I don't believe you.
Question number 9. Can you name the 1979 comedy film written and directed by Eric Sykes that starred Carry On star Charles Hawtrey?
Sorry, is this a carry-on film title?
It's not a carry-on film title, but it is a sort of, you might call it a bit of an offshoot of carry-on.
Well, what's this got to do with the carry-on films,
then? Charles Hawtrey was in very few films outside of the carry-on franchise, and so this is why this question's been selected by the
written by Eric Sykes
Quizmasters.
And what year was it?
1979.
Well, it wasn't The Plank. Thinking aloud. It wasn't The Plank, which was the very famous Eric Sykes docu. It was a sort of comedy documentary.
Yeah, I remember that.
Film,
yeah.
The Plank.
Yeah.
Because you keep calling me The Plank, so you would remember that.
Well, yeah, but I don't call you The Plank because of that. I just call you The Plank generally.
And Charles Hawtrey was in it.
Yes.
Charles Hawtrey. He was in Carry On Policeman or something.
He was in a lot of the Carry On films.
A lot of the Carry On films. Well, I don't think it's a valid question because it's not in the Carry On, agenda and all that.
Genre.
So I'm going to have to say, and it was Eric Sykes. Eric Sykes. Now, he was a big mate of Spike Milligan. So I wonder if it was... I'll say it was Charles Hawtrey. Yeah, it was something like The Day of the Triffids. Sorry, what's your problem?
Where did you get The Day of the Triffids from?
I don't know, I just thought
it
was
a science fiction film.
Oh, was it? Oh.
It was actually called The Plank.
No.
It was.
You can't do that.
Why?
You can't do that.
You said it wasn't. It
I
definitely
was thinking
wasn't
aloud
that.
and said The Plank, and you said, I've heard of that film.
Yeah, well, you said it's definitely not The Plank. That was your words.
But you agreed with me.
I didn't agree with you that it wasn't. I can't tell you what the answer is.
I demand a reshoot on that. I demand a reshoot on that.
How can I ask you the question again a different way?
Because when I was thinking aloud...
what's the third letter?
You deliberately put me off.
I didn't put you off. But
that's an absolute disgrace.
When you're thinking aloud, it's not my place to give you a clue.
Yeah, you said, I said, well, it's not The Plank. I said, and you said, I've heard of that one, The Plank.
Yeah, but you said...
And then we had a conversation about why you call me The Plank,
and
you said it's not because of that film, it's not because of that film, like it was in the third person.
Yeah. But you shouldn't be looking for clues.
But you should have said it's not because of this film. That's what you should have said.
Well, you shouldn't have said it's definitely not The Plank, which is what you started out with.
Absolute disgrace.
Still 3.5 out of 9. Was it 3.5?
5.5 out of 9. 5.5 out of 9.
Question number 10. Maybe you'll get this one right if you've done any research at all. What was the first ever carry-on film called? There's a bit of a science fiction theme going on, isn't there?
No, I think it might have been Carry On Camping, but let me just think. Carry On Camping. It wasn't Carry On Up the Khyber. Carry On Constable, maybe? Maybe it's Carry On Constable. Think aloud. Carry On Constable, Carry On... I know. I bet it was called Carry On.
It was certainly called Carry On, but there's another word.
Oh, there's another word. Carry
See,
On.
I'm being generous there. The scorers had already said that was wrong.
Carry On... I'll go for Carry On Constable.
Incorrect.
No.
It's Carry On Sergeant from 1958.
Well, that's the same thing.
No, the Carry On Constable is a different film.
It's Carry On Policeman, and I said Carry On Constable.
Well, it's not Carry On Policeman, it's actually a sergeant in the army. Anyway.
No, it's not.
It's a sergeant in the army.
I don't believe
The story is about a sergeant in the army who's trying to get himself out of the army.
God.
1958 it was made.
I mean, honestly...
So you got 3.5 out of 10, that's your average score.
No, I didn't.
You should be quite happy with
that. No, I
didn't.
In the court of public opinion, I got at least 5.5 out of 10, probably 6. I got 6 out of 10 in my head.
Well, it doesn't matter in your head.
In my head, I got 6 out of 10.
Well, in your head, you think
I got
Brad
the first
Pitt,
one right when
JR,
I said...
and a mixture of, Wayne Rooney and Steve Redgrave rolled into one.
I got the first one right when I said 32. I got the plank right.
You got the plank wrong.
And the plank wasn't even a carry-on question
anyway. You got the plank wrong.
And I deserved
you said it wasn't the plank.
I deserved a full point for American amalgamated film distribution. You didn't let me get the words out. You thought I said American.
You said American instead of amalgamated.
Amalgamated.
I gave you half a point.
I said amalgamated. That was a damned gerrymandering tragedy.
Well, can you think of another phrase or another acronym that has the amalgamated in it? What about the Amalgamated Union of Engineering Workers?
I used to cover them.
Yeah. Well, if you called it the American Union of Engineering Workers, it wouldn't mean the same, would it?
I don't know. I'm not sure if this quiz has got a future with the way you conduct it. I'm telling you. And I'm in the court of public opinion here, and they agree with me.
Well, I'll tell you what.
We will get a lot of response tonight on your damn cheating methods again.
I don't think it's cheating.
We will.
You said it's definitely not the plank. So what am I supposed to do?
And you said, I've heard of that film. Yeah. So you deliberately, what's the word? You laid a sprat to catch a mackerel. There, that's what you did.
What?
You did,
Why
honestly.
are you speaking like
and the
some
mackerel that you were after, was me getting the answer wrong.
Smoked mackerel.
I think it's a damn disgrace.
By the way, it's 22-10 now. Buffalo leading the New York Jets.
Oh, don't worry, nobody cares.
It's the fourth quarter just started, so we'll keep you updated on that.
Nobody cares.
Lots and lots of people do care. He's Mike Parry, I'm Mike Graham. 3.5 out of 10, I'd say not bad. This is TalkSport.
TalkSport. Striving to identify the killer pass.
Yeah.
TalkSport.
That boy needs therapy. Psychosomatic. That boy needs therapy. You're psychosomatic. That boy needs therapy. Lying down on the couch.
This is TalkSport, and we are the two Mikes. A couple of tweets have come in on your performance. Lord Rallo says, is Porky aware of this thing called Google? 2 minutes of research and he'd ace the Porky quiz. #dreadful.
I'm not. I don't cheat. I don't go around, taking the easy option on this. I do it from the knowledge gained over years and years and years of watching these films.
No. Carl says,
I'm not going to take any shortcuts.
Porky Parry trying to justify losing again. What a carry-on. #the plank. James is on your side. He says, what a stitch-up. Absolute stitch-up. Where was the 10% either side?
Thank you. Yeah, where was the 10% either side on 31 and 32?
Well, if you're
10% of that is only 3.1.
No, if you're an expert in carry-on films, surely you would think to look up the number of films that they made.
I told you, I don't go around researching these things because I'm an honest man and I like to rely on my knowledge.
You would normally get 10% on something like a distance question. Say, for example, the distance
I should have been given 10% on 31-32.
The distance between Aberdeen and London. You'd get 10%
If you'd have given me 5% on 31-32, I'd have got it right.
But I wasn't authorised to do that.
You jerk.
Excuse me, my throat's starting to dry up a bit now. Because I'm maybe, all of this shouting that you're doing and making me ill again. Ian says, looks like Mr. Parry should carry on being a bit dim. And Stephen says, otherwise known as the plank.
Yeah, but you see, I'm not easy about this. What's wrong with you? What are you coughing for?
Well, because I've got bronchial fever.
Is it the bronchial complaint coming back? Well, don't give it to me.
Well, this is why they said
to me,
give it to me. You can't really do a 5-hour radio show if you've got bronchial fever.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I can't be off for more than 2 nights. And they said, well,
I don't know. I think the viewers the listeners have quite enjoyed. The viewers of the DVD. I think the listeners have quite enjoyed not having you here. Actually,
I haven't got that impression from Twitter.
I think dance is very popular.
A lot of the people on Twitter said that basically you were rubbish on your own, but I didn't want to get into that.
Well, I wasn't on my own, it was dance, you see.
Chris says, who's the bigger plank, the plank or the plank that gets the plank question wrong? #plank.
Oh, that's very witty, isn't it?
Very good.
Nice to know we've got such,
erudite followers.
Erudite followers, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. Here's one from Marcus. He says he's from Barbados. He says, tough luck, Mr. Parry. You could have easily got 6 out of 10.
Of course
Slight
I could.
Gerrymandering.
That's right. Oh, I'm going to Barbados.
I thought it was Jamaica, isn't it?
No. To the sunny Caribbean Sea. Don't remember that one from the 70s?
Yeah, but it's going to isn't it Jamaica?
Honestly, it opened, Mike, with this sort of tannoy noise from an airport saying, ladies and gentlemen, please board flight 174 to Kingston.
Jamaica.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No.
It was Jamaica.
No, it wasn't. Sorry.
See if we can find the song.
No, it was to Bridgetown, Barbados.
No, it wasn't.
It was Bridgetown, Barbados.
I'm going to Jamaica.
Oh, I'm going to Barbados.
The song was called Typically Tropical.
No, yeah, that's right. And it's we're going to Barbados.
I think you got that one wrong.
To the sun. I haven't got it wrong.
Well, maybe our very resourcul department behind the glass will find it and play it to you.
They will.
I'm going to Jamaica is the song.
I'm going to Barbados. Thank you.
Barbados. Well, there's one said it's called You're Going to Jamaica. Find the one from Going to Jamaica as well.
No, isn't it Going to Jamaica?
He's fired, by the way.
It's going to... Yeah, exactly. See? So when I know what I'm talking about, I get it right. You can't gerrymander it.
Well, I'm very happy that you
proves that
look how poisonous you are.
It proves you stitch up and twist the questions to make me look dim.
But I don't have anything to do with it.
When we go off subject, like we just have done, and I tell you, no, it was Barbados, you insisted it was Jamaica. And do you know what? If that had been a question in the quiz, you would have changed the question and answer to try and trick me. Yeah, listen. Different song altogether. Different song altogether.
I'm sure there's a Going to Jamaica version, but anyway.
No, it's not.
I'm quite happy for you to get one thing right on any show that we do. I don't in any way begrudge you that.
Listen, who do you think started capitalism in this country?
Who started capitalism?
Yes.
I don't know, really. I suppose it would have been during the Industrial Revolution.
And the reason that I am able to make you aware of this is because it formed part of one of the answers to your quiz.
Oh, did it?
Yes. Henry VIII started capitalism in this country.
Did he? How come?
He's the man who decided that the resources of the country did not belong to the country, they belonged to people who could improve them. That's why he started giving lands away.
Oh, OK.
But when he gave lands away, he wanted a return on the lands. You see what I mean? And he's the guy who started it.
I mean, but he didn't really create, like, the feudal system or anything like that,
the feudal... He got rid of the feudal system in the sense that the feudal system meant you were an employee of the state and you had to, farm your cricket pitch length of grass and produce...
And it was all for the good of somebody above you.
Exactly.
So was he the guy that first created sort of barons and lords and things like
Absolutely
that?
Absolutely right. Let me have a look here. I've got some research here. Yes, the men who snapped up the lands offered by Henry VIII poured their commercial profits into investments in new technologies such as textile mills and spurred innovation in agriculture, OK?
Right.
A paper written of the time, Monks, Gents and Industrialists, the long-run impact of the dissolution of the English monasteries, states that the change in social structure was plausibly a significant determination of the location of English industrialisation when lands were freed up by King Henry VIII.
Right.
Isn't that good?
So why are you telling me this?
Well, because we mentioned King Henry VIII in the quiz, because, of course...
Carry on Henry.
Yeah, Carry On Henry, and Sid James was the best ever King Henry VIII. So I thought that I would add to that information by giving you even more information, OK?
Well, thank you very much indeed.
Yes.
I'm not sure it's any information I can particularly use.
The achievements of King Henry VIII, by the way, were absolutely outstanding. First of all, he established the Church of England, which became the biggest faith in the world.
But he did that purely to self-serve the reason for him to get remarried, didn't he? Because he couldn't get the Catholic Church to agree to him to get remarried.
Exactly.
So, I mean, he only formed a church in order to make sure he could keep marrying someone until he got an heir.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true.
Well, it wasn't done out of any kind of esoteric reason, I mean.
Well, it'd be like this. If you and I said, right, we think that we should have a 24-hour drinking system in this part of London, and then we applied to the people who run London.
I thought we already did, actually.
Yeah, well, we did, actually, yeah. This is just an example. And then London said, no, we're not having a 24-hour system. And then you and I could go off and set up our own new rules of drinking, in which we included our own premises as a 24-hour drinking establishment. It's like that, really.
It is, yeah.
How
about this from Laurie the Hammer? He says, ironically, when Porky was contemplating the answer to Carry On Sergeant, he was humming a Doctor Who-type sound, and that film actually starred William Hartnell, the first Doctor Who. Spooky.
Yes? Oh, I wonder why.
Yeah.
No, I remember the Doctor Who one. It went like this. Something
like that.
Didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it did. It did. Right, now, Henry VIII, the other things he did, he oversaw the union of England and Wales with the laws in Wales Acts 1535, 1542 and 1541.
Right.
OK?
Yeah.
So he separated England and Wales legally.
Yeah.
He is the father of the modern Navy. I knew that already.
Why are you talking about Henry VIII?
Well, I love Henry VIII. He was a great guy.
We've already done it. I'm sure we did a quiz on Henry VIII, and you got about 2 out of 10.
By the time of his death, the Navy, which had no ships when he became king, had 50 ships. That's not bad.
No, it isn't bad, no.
Yeah.
But you remember we talked about the Mary Rose and all that sort of thing?
Yeah, well, that was brought up from the sea.
It was, yeah.
Do you know why the Mary Rose tipped over?
Was it because of the cannonballs or something?
No, they pushed all the cannons to one side of the ship so that they could turn sort of broadside to the enemy.
Yeah.
And
then they miscalculated.
It was overloaded on one side. It went down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a good thing to do.
Ian says this, Mr. Parry should appear on Sorry I Haven't a Clue.
Well, no, I shouldn't, because I've got a clue about everything, including... you know what? That the way you led me up the garden path with that answer to the plan is the worst of all the gerrymandering you've done. The very worst, honestly.
I don't think so.
I think you'll find...
I think I've done much worse than that.
I think you'll find...
There was one in one of the pop quizzes, I seem to remember, when you thought you were going to name some band. And then it turned out to be wrong. It was very funny.
What?
It was very funny.
What was?
Well, there was one piece of what you would describe as gerrymandering, which I would just describe as you trying to assume something.
Yes.
And you were trying to get the name of a band or something like that. And you mentioned the name, and I said, do you mean something? And you went, yeah, that's it. And then you came out, I think it was Bucks Fizz or something like that.
Right.
But it turned out it wasn't the right answer. And you were beside yourself with grief.
I think you will find, and I mean this absolutely seriously, folks, that you have lost a great deal of what you formerly had, and that is respect from our listeners. You've lost respect because you're a cheat, and they don't like cheats.
Listen, as everybody knows, and as I've repeatedly told you, I have no influence whatsoever in the compiling of the quiz questions.
The audience don't
Nothing
like
to do with me.
Audience don't like cheats.
And I am not able to give you clues. It's not simply just not done.
Okay,
Now, how about this one from Chris, who says, could you post the Porky Quiz and Porky Vision to SoundCloud? I want to send them to friends. They'll love it. I don't know whether that's possible. I know we're doing a lot of things on SoundCloud.
What is SoundCloud?
Well, it's just another one of these kind of audio services, a bit like a podcast that you can download and listen to stuff. And I know TalkSport has been doing a lot of it recently.
What's that Boom thing? Isn't there a Boom thing?
Audio Boom.
No, I do Audio Boom.
Yeah.
That's fine. Isn't there? There's another one which puts out
Boom
pictures.
Bang a Bang?
I don't know what it is.
I mean Instagram.
It could be Instagram.
Yeah.
Listen.
Anyway, the answer is I don't know if we can put it out on SoundCloud, but it will definitely be on the podcast, which will be out in about 5 hours from now.
5 hours from
now. You're going to get any sleep, by the way, between now and the Birmingham show. I think you should try.
I'm going to try. I mean, listen. I don't want to get sentimental, but I was quite concerned about your health on Wednesday when you weren't well.
Doesn't sound like it.
So when I got home from here, and remember, I don't leave here till sort of 8 o'clock on a Wednesday morning, so it's a kind of all-nighter for me.
Yeah.
I had one ear on the phone all day because I wanted to know if you were going to get better for the show that night.
I know.
So I didn't get much sleep Wednesday because,
You're blaming me for that.
I am blaming you for that.
That's typical of you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry that, I inconvenienced you in such a way.
And today I had to work with Mr. Brazil.
Yeah.
We had an engagement, entertaining people, which is very good, by the way.
Yeah.
A group of lads from Yorkshire, actually, and some businessmen from London, which is very nice. Now, one thing I want to tell you before we go...
Yeah, because we're running out of time now.
You know that planet that they talked about as being the one where there could be possible life? The one called GJ1132b.
It doesn't ring a bell to
Don't you remember?
No.
Don't remember? This is a few months ago.
It's a very romantic-sounding planet. GJ what?
GJ1132b.
Right. Sounds like my registration.
And they've spent, since it was first reported 3 months ago, they found this planet. They've spent that time now trying to work out how far away it is.
Right.
And
whether there's anything there.
But these figures are just mind-boggling. Do you know how far away it is?
No idea.
39 light years.
That's quite a long way, isn't it?
But it says here...
So how long would it take to get there?
So hang on. So it says here, astronomers are delighted to find that GJ1132b is only 39 light years away.
No, right. Well, that's handy then.
Exactly.
We'll pop down there for the weekend.
And just to,
so they can't send anybody there, can they? Because it'd take too long.
I mean, it would take an infinitesimal amount of time. Just to explain to our listeners, a light year is light... travelling for 1 year.
It's the amount of time it takes.
And light travels at what speed? Like
speed of light.
Yeah, I know. But what is it? Like it's
it's some millions metres per second.
Yeah, 2 million metres a second or something like that.
Well,
so,
I mean, you just have to put a light on
for 39
and
years.
See how long it takes for the room to light up. It's
not
very long.
It's just ridiculous.
The only thing faster than that is Lewis Hamilton in a car in Monaco.
That's right. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I just can't comprehend how far away this thing can be.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly.
So even if there is life on there and we do discover it, we'll never meet them. Well, unless they've got a very fast ship.
But I mean, you and I have already discovered how time travel works.
Yeah.
You get into a spaceship that travels faster than the speed of light.
Yeah.
You whiz off around the moon, go around the dark side of the moon, come back.
Yeah.
And when you get back, you should be here before you left.
Yeah. Only problem is you have to invent the spaceship in order to do that.
Well, exactly. That is but NASA are working on it, aren't they? We spoke to an expert in America who says one of these days it'll happen.
Yeah.
That's. I mean,
wasn't he the guy that you told that we shouldn't be wasting money advancing into space? There's no point.
Find a cure for cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not?
You haven't said that all week.
Well,
I'm glad you got it in at the end.
Well, you've only been here for 2 nights. You've had a bit of a rest this week.
I wouldn't call it a rest.
Yeah,
it's not voluntary. I would not have wanted to be having a rest, and I'm very glad that I'm now back and not quite fully fit, but reasonably so. I'm going to be trying to get a bit of a rest in before tonight's show in Birmingham.
If you love the Two Mikes podcast, you'll love the live show. Weekday overnights from 1 a.m. on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM and via the TalkSport app. TalkSport, your Premier League station with exclusive commentaries every weekend.
What an absolute corker!
TalkSport.
Air dryer!
Look at the light!